Hospital drama. One of the people is in court. Lol. Ow. Ah, I forgot the. I forgot the thingy for seeing that thing.
How's it going?
Huh. That's weird. Where are the ambulance? Oh yeah, because they're new, so they're not here.
If you sue me, my Jew LC lawyers will eat your hick LS ass alive!
Get out.
I hope your whole family dies!
Ah. Don't mind me, I'm a great driver. Ah, fuck it. Yeah. Welcome, all of one person.
What?
Don't worry about
Why
it.
are you wielding a sword?
'Cause I can.
Can I have a sword?
No.
Oh.
No card. Fuck you. Let's see. Who are we waiting? Also, I forgot the command to see people's usernames and where they are. God damn it. Ah. It's like, I'm sure it's something.
Yeah, I have no idea. I want it that. It's kind of funny.
I don't like the fact that I forgot it. It's really useful. Fuck. Oh well. Still have to survive without it.
Yes.
Guess we're waiting for Tiffany. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum.
Yeah.
Or Paris 2.0.
What?
What?
What? Paris 2.0.
Yeah. The same person playing
Is that
two different characters. One character got fired, so she made another one. Who's that?
Is that Mama?
Yeah, that's Mama. Mama! That was Mama.
R.I.P. Mama. Am I right? Am I right?
Alright. What was the command? To
I don't know.
people's username.
Is network is player online or something?
Nah, it's like 3 letters. It's like shortcut for something, but I don't know. I'm positive it was A and then 2 random letters.
Well, if you do just /A, you can see admin menu.
Yeah, that's not there. The issue is that command is not in the prompt. So, yeah. The last time I used it was like 5 weeks ago. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
that's-
guy clearly
yeah.
didn't make the turn.
Yeah. Duty. Am I on? EMS duty. Oh. Bum, 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 bum. Bada-
Okay, baby doll, let's move it!
dum, dum, dum.
Someone is coming.
How do you know that?
I'm psychic, and I also saw him through the window. But you know, I'm mostly psychic.
Hi.
What is up?
Hello, nothing much. I'm crying about forgetting the command I need to see everyone
Why is there
on
a
the
creepy
server.
clown here?
I'm the diversity hire.
Yep, we got
I'm
a
going
furry,
to
so we
hate
might
crime
as
you
well
so
have a clown
badly.
as well. And we're gonna hate him
You are
a
going
lot.
to be hate crimed.
Yep,
I'm pretty cool.
yep.
I'm pretty cool.
I'm gonna shove you in the disposal
Hello.
unit.
Hey.
I'm gonna cry about this command. I need to see people!
No, you don't. You don't need to see anybody. I feel like I successfully made a character like a 1980s porn star / military man.
I like it.
You.
Yeah, I successfully moved myself over.
Yeah, is what I did.
That doesn't sound like good. It's not good.
Oh my god, we have the same tattoo.
No way. Did you get it when you were in the military?
Probably.
That's when I got it.
Oh, we're missing one TACMed, one doctor, and one Brittany.
Where is the Brittany?
Lasty? Am I? Oh fuck! By mistake. I pull up my phone?
When are they gonna get rid of these Halloween decorations?
Soon, I hope. I'm begging, pleading.
And this tree as well
Oh.
could.
Well, while we wait, let's have a TED talk.
Okay.
Oh, what the fuck?
What?
What the fuck? I saw that.
Yeah, she has a sword.
You don't?
Is that a thing you can get on the main server?
Yes.
I'm gonna need that for Spoon King.
Good luck.
Are you
I
Spoon
know.
King?
Yeah.
No freaking way.
Honestly, I hope you get like a custom, just giant spoon.
I thought you were just a legal paralegal. Are you gonna become a doctor?
No, this
Dippo
isn't
went
my Spoon King
Calacal.
character. It's a different
Oh.
character.
Okay, because Spoon King is pretty fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, Spoon King is definitely not doing things on the side that he should.
Okay, welcome to my TED Talk.
All right. Stop. I want to hear your state ID, all of yours. And yes,
This
check
one
it
or
because
the
it's
one
gonna
over
be-
there?
No, the one you got here.
Okay.
And
There
I
you go.
meant hear it, not see it. Please
Oh.
dictate one by one. So you first,
got-
Mr. Mustache Man from Horn.
100404.
All right. There goes that. Next one.
What? 100402.
And let me guess, 100403.
3. Yeah.
Yep. All right. There you go.
Oh, who's the new guy?
Howdy, I'm Danny.
Hello. Okay, so waiting on one more doctor. Could you tell me what's your ID on this server? State ID.
100405.
Who could have guessed?
I'm assuming you mean this one.
Yep.
Perfect.
Great. That. No, you can. Is everybody part of Sam's now?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm not.
All right, you didn't
I
accept
think
it.
I didn't get a notification.
Oh.
How do I see if I'm a part of it?
You accept it.
It should be in your organizations in your F3.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. I might have not seen it before.
Ah, there you
Albro said he'd be a few minutes late.
Apologies. Also, there's no way one of my RP characters is cool enough to ever get like custom shit.
Would be
Spoon
fu-
King is just a homeless guy obsessed with spoons. He's not gonna get a custom spoon sword.
I don't know.
That would be so cool, by the way.
It would be, it would be fucking sick. I'd honestly love to get like a custom modeled helmet just made out of glued spoons.
All right,
Yeah,
now
wait.
that you're asking for a bit. There's a difference between a giant spoon for a sword and a whole fucking custom.
Oh, is
helmet.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
well,
just
a
take
giant,
spoon
a
and
giant
make it bigger.
spoon. Oh yeah, well, I doubt that's gonna happen.
I think honestly you should request it because Spoon King kind of needs it.
Is that just a thing you can do? You can just open a staff ticket and request shit?
I mean, of course you can request shit, and most of the time you'll be denied. But like,
Oh yeah.
The worst thing that can happen is that they'll ban you. So I mean,
I
mean,
can't
true.
really say no to that, yeah.
I mean, they could find your location, come and kill you in your sleep as well. But...
I'm in a different country than where the server's hosted. I think I'm okay.
Hello, who's this?
it's so hard
I'm
to
Julia.
speak with my mom
Hello.
voice while
I
I'm
want to
here.
hear your
Hi.
state ID on this server. It
Yeah,
should
I
be
know, right?
100
Yeah.
406, I'm guessing.
Actually feels weird talking with this affliction.
I forgot
I
because
cannot
this
see
guy's
it.
supposed to have like a
Please read it
712.
out. It is exactly.
I forgot
I,
about
yeah,
I, I,
it
could
is.
read it. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so-
Did you invite?
I'm,
Hey.
I'm supposed to have a southern twang too, but I keep forgetting to just do that.
I'm just gonna call people y'all and hope that makes me southern enough.
Well, Terry's best friend has like a boss
And
thing. It's
And
hilarious.
if anybody ever challenges me on it, I'm gonna call them un-American.
Nice.
Literally going.
Well,
back
okay,
in.
now you're more Texan than southern.
Yep, that's what I was going for. If this
Yeah, I can't-
character lives longer than 6 months, he will die of a heart attack. If this
Yeah, I can't-
character
well,
lives
that's
longer than 6
specific.
months, he will die of a heart attack.
How much are we?
This character
Are we
lives-
in or out of personality here?
Oh,
Out.
100%.
Okay.
Oh, we are on a
Okay.
dev
Oh, okay,
server, learning.
Yeah.
What your role in RP is supposed to be.
Okay. Well, guys, I have my Twitch open and I just saw James go live, so we're here. It's good. It's quiet.
Are you gonna watch James Randall? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I got James Randall the other
Hello.
day.
Wow,
Shot me
so
in the
many
face.
doctors. Hello.
He was helping
Hello.
me. He was helping
didn't
Andy be
invite
my lawyer one day.
her.
Were you up there at the the speech?
I'm
impediment
also the
Israel?
scientist. I'm the professor.
Oh, I've called you.
There you go. Did you get
Yeah.
that invite?
I tried to
yeah,
get
it's
a time travel because I needed my expired milk to be unexpired. Which honestly
Yeah, and I was
thought
just like, I'm busy. When you called me there, I was actively dissecting somebody. So I was just like, I need to get this nut job off the phone so I can finish taking out this guy's spleen.
I love that thing. It's like I just need to go back 2 weeks because the milk is bad and I need it good. Yeah, Terry.
You were fucking crazy.
Well, because of Marie over there, I now carry papers, and when anyone asks to see my papers, I just give them 2 pieces of paper, blank.
That is the driest joke I've ever heard of.
I hate it so much.
I'm a dad. What can you say?
Wait, so you play Maria?
Serial
Hello.
code.
Yeah.
Okay, the giggle. I don't know how you do that so often.
I just laugh.
I love that.
I don't. Giggles are gone by now, pretty much. I very
Fair enough.
rarely play doll marionette. I'm mostly just walk it off mode.
I need to ask you,
Ah.
what fucking accent do you have? Because all I hear is just all I'm picturing is like Russian commissar about to beat me with a bat.
Well,
It is very
I'm
Polish.
myself am Polish. I play an American 18-year-old girl who thinks is a doll and is pretending to have an accent of a woman who's Russian and pretending to be American. It's pretty
So-
My
complicated.
character was weird.
So she's a person pretending to be a doll who is pretending to be a Russian lady who that Russian lady is pretending to be American.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, the amount of layers on that is like 7
yeah,
layered
welcome to
dick.
my characters. You know, I ran out of character slots, so I made a character who plays characters. I don't want to.
You know what?
You know
That's
what
that's
works?
actually fucking genius.
You were making me. I was laughing hysterically the other day during the interview. And not stop.
All right. So we're gonna go to.
I
What
just
I
love
did
that Terry
soon
didn't
about,
get the interview.
more
You were just like,
now,
I like you. You're hired.
Oh no, we were told to get out.
We have three,
So Jen
What I
listens.
did-
Jen's a listener.
What I
Yeah,
did for
yeah.
fucking Spoon King is I was just like, you know what, funny homeless guy who huffs glue who is obsessed with spoons. Done.
See, that's why I have Ratman. Ratman's my homeless character. I love him.
I was streaming and then Oliver gave you the ID and you're like, I didn't ask. Everybody in the chat started laughing.
You know, my character is built from a lifer on No Pixel. So I was a serial killer with Murder Island, but I was spent 41 years in solitary, so that kind of broke my brain.
Yeah.
You see,
I
I'd
bet.
bring over one of my old characters, but none of them would work on purple.
I just love Terry. This character, it was the first I made, and I just turned everything up to 11, like mood swings, you know, everything. ADHD.
Here should stream Zombie by Evan.
I will eventually make Maria an official part of the
ESP?
Spoon Roundtable.
That's good. Yeah, you need a
I
spoon.
have
I
cheated.
love
I have
Spoon King.
cheated. I got it. Ah, I
What?
see everyone. Ah. Wow, great names. Wow, I finally see everyone. Ah, this is so good. I had to fucking look through my VODs to see the fucking command. It's ESP. What the fuck does that stand for? I don't know.
ESP
I know
extra
that-
parental powers.
I don't know, that's giving me like some fucking COD vibes.
Oh, Counter Strike. Oh god.
No, not Counter Strike, fucking Call of Duty.
Well, I
You
was
said ESP?
ESP. Yeah, I used to. You
Oh,
can have
um,
hack in.
Like extrasensory perception or some shit.
I love the fact that we get a real
Anyway.
thick stomach
Yeah.
sitting like this.
She's got a lot of layers.
Hello. How are you doing?
Doing good. How about you? Yay!
Oh, that didn't work. Whoops. Fine, I'll take a car. Yeah, that didn't go the way I hoped
Killed
it
me.
would. Yeah, I sure did. I'm sorry, that did not go the way I thought it would. You're also very much invisible. Wow.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yep, nope, that's that's not good.
Yeah, that too. I'm dead and invisible. I'm alive, but still invisible.
Right. This, I guess.
There we go.
You're up. Get in the car. We are still waiting on Brittany.
Gonna have to start all over again.
You're the guy that based the Spoon King off the Dirt Man, right? So I got that right.
I didn't base him off the Dirt Man. I was just like, you know what? If I
Or
tell
saw
people
a
to put
post
spoons
based
under their
on
pillows,
Dirt Man.
Please tell me we had our ambulances back already. God damn it, we don't. That's fucked up. Why don't we have our ambulances? Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
You're on Ted Talk?
I didn't think this through. I didn't think this through, okay?
It worked.
It didn't seem like it.
No,
Where are
what?
they going?
It's
I don't know.
Perfectly
Brittany said
fine.
come over here.
They're gossiping.
Yeah. She hit me with a call.
Yeah, it was just one of them. It was weird. Like, you can see the clip and see what you think of it, but I think it's really weird.
Oh, that's just honestly, that's just men being men.
Yeah. Like, I
You
thought it was
Ignore
weird.
it. I'll
Grace
make it.
is
I'll
saying
say
that.
something.
I wish we had
Hi
chairs.
guys, can I just remind you all that this is an OOC. This is OOC, so please do not be making fun of other people or how they talk or anything like that. Okay?
Okay.
This is all OOC.
Yeah.
Be respectful to everyone, guys. We're all role players here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to do the whole
Sips.
spiel about the RP?
Sips. Oh, is this everyone?
Nope. Fucking Hilton's. Hilton? Yeah, Tiffany is Hilton now. Yeah, he's missing.
Oh, let me DM her.
Danke.
You know what? We're OOC. I'm on a dev server. I'll just call her. Hold on.
I would really like her to attend because I'm pretty sure she only attended it as a doctor, like the first one. I'd prefer.
I know she attended like the do you know like the first
yeah,
ones?
yeah,
that,
that's what I mean.
She attended all of those and did the scenarios, but I'll get her. I'll just call her on Snapchat. Hold on.
I love like mentally trying to figure out where everyone like their accents are. I don't
I'm
know if anyone
British.
else does it.
I sound
Really?
American, but I'm
not
British.
I get so pissed off when people clock me from Norway because I try so hard to get Terry's accent to be like weird with the affliction and everything. And then
See,
someone
that's
comes
kind
up-
of what I've done. I'm British. I'm not trying to do an American accent at all, but I sound American, don't I?
You
I would
sound
never
very
have guessed you were
Welsh.
from Norway until you
Really?
just spoke now, and
Yeah.
I would never have got British at all.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
But I've been living online since I was like 12, so you know it's.
yeah.
Oh my
My,
god.
my
That's fair.
voice is like this because I literally grew up from the age of 10 to fucking 18 on Xbox, only playing with Americans, like
you-
for like 6
Right.
hours.
They all
a
should
day.
already be hired on. I got them all.
I,
I guess we're only waiting for.
Am
Yeah,
I late?
I've been playing with a British guy.
Yes,
back
you're
in
late
the
and
days of
fired.
Camelot time.
Oh, damn,
Oh,
sorry.
that's a game I haven't heard of forever.
Miss that game. So, I miss
Ah,
that
fuck
game
this car.
like every 3
I'm coming for you. We're having a little meeting in front of the thingamajig.
Gotcha.
Where are you? Oh, I see.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Clips. Treatment floor.
No, I was like specifically asking where you are, but it's fine. I see you. Get in, baby. We're going on a boost.
Off we
cruise.
go. Wee. How'd it go?
How did what go? We didn't do
What?
anything.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, we got
I
got a
don't
little
fucking know that.
distracted.
I just call it a
We're
raid.
waiting.
Wow, look at this little setup. This is cute.
Whoa! This has been here for like forever.
Has it?
I mean I've seen it during my fucking ranger training, which was like what,
Oh.
6 hours ago,
Well, I'm
6
almost
months ago,
finished, so.
5 months ago.
Welcome to our OOC TED Talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
Oh,
You're not a
Chloe.
ranger this time.
I
wish we had
I mean,
chairs that
What if I went through re-education like this?
I'm so sorry
You would
for the
be
shit you had to put
allowed.
up with when I was playing Ratman the other day.
Fucking Ratman was hilarious.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I don't think
I
that was a
love
problem
him.
at all. There's like a lot of stuff I think that Chloe gets like is a little bit like, oh my god, there's so much going on that like I'm just like, no, this is fun. This is a fun time.
Okay, cool.
Just
I try to
wait
make him
until the
obnoxious,
day.
but like not too obnoxious.
No, I think you balance that pretty well.
Perfect.
Wait until the day Spoon King.
From what I
comes
remember,
and wages
anyway.
war.
You'll be seeing him
Oh
a
my
lot,
god,
I
the
promise.
Spoon King.
The Spoon King is just an instant fave.
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong with the Spoon King. Like before I thought about it, I gathered some spoons on one of my alts that I was testing out the other day. Who was rummaging through trash and I was like, oh, spoon?
Who
Okay.
dis? Hello, who's this?
I'm here.
Welcome back. You're late.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know what? Depending on the cop that you get,
Or-
it might actually work.
If anything, I'll go to open court, traffic court to pay my ticket, and then just give the judge a double bag.
Did you make a
full
new
of
character?
pennies.
I've been meaning to
That's
ask,
actually
no,
fucking
that's
golden.
Not a new character. Hold on. It's an
if we
different
have a
server than
character
the one
that
you
is a
came on.
doctor, are we allowed to have another character that's a doctor?
No.
Can I get
No.
promoted to a
Oh,
lieutenant in this server?
Yes.
That's the equivalent of Vanguard, right?
I'm not sure. Why you wanna do thingy-majig?
Yeah, I want to see the command stuff.
Oh, yeah. Whatever. Who the fuck are you?
I just figured I'd ask because I don't know if like I can have both Danny and Ratman be a doctor.
I don't think Ratman. You're gonna
Yeah.
ask to be a doctor on Ratman.
Uh,
and they're just gonna be
The
like,
entire
"What the fuck,
purpose
you're
was
crazy."
for Ratman to be a doctor, so like, yeah.
I don't know. You could be a street doctor.
Worst comes to worst, Danny will just step out of being a doctor and Ratman will be a doctor instead.
There you go. You're director now. How's that?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell
Promotion time.
Gotta spoil my favorite employee.
Definitely hardest working.
Oh.
Ouch!
See you all the time.
Ouch!
Oh my god, these
Ouch!
charges are so good.
I dropped my
Maria's
hours
right
lately
there.
a little bit, but come on.
No, it's just, showing face. We see her a lot. Tactman.
All right, Chloe, you're fucking
Yeah.
on.
I'll be in the
We'll see
background.
who
People
pulls
wondering
more
I'm
hours.
working.
I do, I think.
Well,
Actually, you are maybe the only other person that comes close.
no.
Yeah,
I used to pull more hours than you, then I took a step back, and now I'm back, baby.
Hell yeah.
The only thing that could
Don't
get in
worry,
my
I'm
way
keeping
right
it
now
running.
is
Yeah. Oh my god.
Just to
I
double
watched
check.
Judy the other day. My girlfriend loves Judy.
Why would you love Judy? Judy's fucking insane. Ah!
Is she a judge?
What character of
No,
yours
she's
is not?
a chaos criminal.
fuck off. It was personal. My OC feelings.
I'm only good at playing insane people because I'm
bleeding
insane.
between my characters. I'm bleeding between my characters. No.
Yeah, I mean, this
Sounds like
it's
not
all out of
good.
character.
Shit,
Who cares, you know?
I'm
Yeah,
having
why you wanna
OOC
swing by?
bleed. No.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you want to know something funny?
What's up?
I forgot how to put a reticle on from the first time I did re-education. So I've just been shooting everything without a reticle this entire time.
Are you a
Fuck
good
it.
shot?
Immerse.
Yeah, it works out.
Is immersive.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Works out, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, so just a quick question. So the Sam's Doctor re-education takes like an hour, half an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
I'll be here. I was supposed to leave at 5:30.
Yep. All right. I guess we'll start
But
since we have.
I'll be
everyone.
able to. I'll be able to listen. But if you call on me from like 5:30 on, I probably won't be able to answer you. And then I'll be back.
Yep. All right. What are you doing, Chloe?
But I'll be here. I'll listen.
Please.
Promise I'll get it.
Sorry, Maddie.
What?
Nothing. It doesn't help. You don't do a voice.
Boop.
No,
That's true.
No, sorry, you do a voice. You do a sub voice.
I tried so hard,
Chloe's
and then
an
Bertha was
innocent
like,
woman.
"No, Chloe's a top," and I'm like, "Fuck, I can't hide it."
That's unfair. You cannot ask Bertha because Bertha is like the biggest bottom ever. So
That's a fair point,
everyone to them is a top. Anyway, hello everyone to re-education. First few words before we get to actual hospital mechanics and all of that. Something for all of you to remember: you are getting a position on a whitelisted server in a whitelisted job. That means you're kind of cream of the crop or whatever the fuck you say that, and you are expected to know how to roleplay and know how to respect people's roleplay. That's kind of our job as a whitelisted position. We exist as a mix between a role player and a mechanic for other people to roleplay with, because without medics, people aren't able to push anything medical related, right? The same as without cops, criminals would have no reason to RP, right? Yeah. Hello.
You're like fired.
Right.
Who's this?
Elber.
All right, let's go ahead and do this.
He's a doctor.
Yep. Invite in. Let me guess. State ID 100-409. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Yeah, I did. Wow, I'm a genius, or I can just count.
All right.
Yep, it's very much important for everyone here to remember that while we're all on, an RP server to enjoy ourselves, we do hold a lot of responsibility in the fact that we are responsible in allowing other people to get the RP they wish to get out of the server they play on. So, that being said, we want all of you to understand that you are going to be 100% responsible for respecting other players' RP style, and will be here to enable it. You will never push, your own style onto players. You will never disrespect other people's RP, because as I said, you're in a whitelisted job. You're kind of your job to provide RP to others, not to be the main character yourself. So, well, obviously we all play characters and we can all do the same things. The default is we run with what the patients want to run. If someone is having fun, you're there to have fun with them. If someone is being serious, you're there to be serious with them. Is that understood?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Yes.
Everyone should always read the room and basically try your best to match the vibes you're getting from a patient. If you're getting no vibes, obviously, you're feel free to experiment, try whatever you feel comfortable with. But if you are getting some sort of vibes, try to match them so that, you know, their experience is as close to what they would be expecting out of the interaction as possible, right? We have PurpleRP is very much a mixed bag of role players. We have all sorts of people here, and we don't want a single person to feel, you know, disrespected, unpleased with an interaction or anything like that, right? We are not gonna ridicule people for not taking injuries seriously. We're not gonna ridicule people for taking injuries very seriously. We're gonna roll with everything they throw at us. And I'm hoping that you all, as experienced role players, can do that very well. And I have high hopes with all of you because most of you have been personally picked for the fact that you are indeed good role players. So don't prove us wrong. We're gonna be very disappointed.
Fair enough.
Good. 10-4.
Yeah, it's literally as simple as please read the room and don't, you know, don't force vibes onto other people. Like, right? You're here to provide them with RP much more than they are here to provide you with RP. You're there to provide a setting for them to play off of in the way they want to play. That's basically it for the
That also means that there's going to be plenty of times where you're like, you know, feeling pretty silly or whatever, and you have to just lock in and be serious, or vice versa. Do your best or pass it off to somebody available who can do it. The local doctors, quote unquote, exists for a reason also. So
yeah, we'll have all of that explained. You don't have to worry about, you know, doing a great
Blame
job.
it on them.
You don't have to, you don't have to worry about doing a quote-unquote good job. You just don't disrespect other people's roleplay, right? You just roll with whatever they throw at you, and don't try to, you know, in any way imply that their RP is wrong or like try to push it in a different direction than what they're going for. Always, we're here to
Matching energy.
enable. Yeah, we're here to enable their RP, not the other way around. So keep that in mind. That's like the biggest thing about having a job here at Sam's is that you're here to enable others people's RP, and it's kind of your job. You know, medical knowledge and all that aside, fuck that. Who needs that? We're here to roleplay.
Yeah, I also just want to say you don't need medical knowledge to RP at Sam's, like, at all. You don't need OSC knowledge. You don't need to be a real life med student or a real life doctor. It's nonsense. That's bullshit.
You will learn a lot through roleplay, but you don't need it to get the job, right? You'll be there and you'll naturally learn through interacting, right? Same way with TACMED. You don't need to know 10 codes to be accepted, but naturally, you know, by being around them, you'll slowly start to learn them until eventually you will know them, right? But we're role players. We're here to have fun and tell stories. You don't need to necessarily know every single answer to every single question. You just need to do what you've always been doing, which is role playing.
Okay, so we're kind of like just supplementing what the, I guess, patients come to us with, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's basically, yeah, just read the room. If someone's being silly, you know, you will respect that. You don't necessarily have to be as silly as them. You will just, you know, not be like, oh no, you're actually dying, slash me, you have deadly injuries and you will die if you don't take it seriously, something like that, right? It's very simply just respect everyone's roleplay, right? Even if you disagree with it, even if you're not a fan of it, the least you can do is respect people's roleplay and just roll with it. That's all we ask. So if you don't, that's we don't like that. We don't like that.
Didn't Spoon King get new eyes from a deer this morning?
You are very welcome. The deer whose brain is currently in James Randall's head, so enjoy that.
Oh my
God.
Spoon King and James Randall are connected.
Yes, they are. And enjoy staring at headlights together, I guess.
Oh my god, wait, that's a thing I actually have to do now. When I'm on him and he just sees headlights, I just have to stare at them in the middle of the road now. I'm gonna get hit by so many cars.
You're welcome. Why do you think I put that deer head in there?
Why would you do that to your king?
Because I am going to take over the kingdom the same way I'm going with Sam's.
Oh my god. Oh
It's
my
all,
god,
it's all
I
in
shouldn't
Ever
have
master
demoted
plan.
Callum to court jester. I should have demoted you.
Ah, well. All right, let's all load up into the cars. We'll swing by Eclipse. Hey, no clip time. Okay, I'll take this one.
This one hasn't got a key.
Well, you can still no clip in it.
I don't know how to no clip.
Tech Pro's gonna get full so quickly. There's only me and you in here.
All right, cool people get in our car because we know how to fly.
I'm going over that one.
Oh,
I can't get in.
because you got to get to the other side.
You're on the wrong side.
Oh, that makes sense.
Ah!
Oh, never mind. I'm
You
I'm
bitch. All right, everyone who wants to fly, get in the ambulance.
Ow.
Come on, guys, get in. Everyone
yep,
who wants
up
to
on the
die,
side.
come with me.
Yep.
I'm in the trunk. I'm happy.
Oh my god.
Are you good?
There we go.
I'm pretty sure you can get on the other side as well.
There we go.
Oh my god, I can use my PDW on this.
Oh.
Oh.
They
Well.
died.
Got me either.
Yeah.
All right, they'll be fine.
Anyone a doctor?
They'll be fine.
Good thing we started for doctors. That's great.
There, first
All right.
patients.
I'm rub my ears.
Oh, hey.
All right, everybody out. Ugh. I'll go pick the rest up. I'm not sorry.
I put my belt on immediately.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh shit.
Shit, Dick.
That's,
I tried. Where are they going? Where's
I don't
everyone
know.
going? What's going on?
We're panicking.
Okay.
We don't know where we
Fine.
belong.
Where is everyone?
Everyone
Oh,
get
okay.
in
Hey,
square.
guys.
Get in square.
Yeah, get in square. It's a rectangle, sorry. Close enough.
I'm squared up.
Nice group. Right, guess we'll begin the tour of hospital if you want, Brittany. Just go through every place.
Yeah, we might as well just do it all together, and then
Yep.
we can split off into TAC Med and doctors. So
Yep.
we can obviously the doctor re-education is going to be significantly a lot shorter than the TAC Med one. So yeah, we can start the tour, guys. Majority of you have probably already been here before, but this is Eclipse Medical. It's Eclipse Hospital. This is our main hub of roleplay. This is where all the magic happens majority of the time. In here is the
Brittany,
morgue.
shout!
Oh shit, my bad. In here is the morgue. This is, yeah, it's like super duper cute. So in this morgue, it's like super demure and like really nice. And like this is like the examination table. So like when someone, like when a player kills their character off, this is usually what autopsies are performed. The doctors can learn how to do ME medical examination stuff, but like it's an in character thing. You're not trained how to do it. Obviously here. In here is the like where we put people who like actually die. So when players kill their characters off, you usually bring them down here, and this is where you will ID them, and you will sorry, I'm like brain fart, I'm super tired.
Fuck.
This is where like you will basically put their dead body. So usually when a player
The fridge.
dies, yeah, you just slash me puts into cold storage, and That's usually a good indication that you've put their body into cold storage and they can FA quit. So yeah, when a player kills their character off, this is where you will bring them.
Okay.
How often does that actually happen?
Honestly, more frequent
A
than you
couple
think.
times a week.
Yeah.
I got you.
Stairs,
Is that a
obviously-
sword? Whoops.
Obviously, I'm sure everyone knows how to use the elevators in Eclipse, so I won't go over that.
Where did you get a sword from?
So usually you do 3 rounds of CPR, and then you just do like on the 3rd round, it's like a slash me perma ?
Oh, okay.
Or something like that, and usually they'll respond with yes or is dead.
Gotcha.
Okay, and here is the meeting room.
I
And
wanna let Brittany,
this is where we hold our
most of it
in-character
since she
meetings
was
every
the one
day
who
at
set it up
7
for
p.m.
doctors in the first
Eastern. Don't worry if you don't make it. We usually don't really talk about anything too important, and here it's usually the same stuff from like 4 days prior.
Do we get cookies and milk?
Oh, no. These rooms back here, these are private examination rooms. If you're a doctor, sometimes you can use these, I guess. I mean, we don't really use them for anything else. They used to be personal offices, but they're not anymore. I just like to refer to them as private examination checkup rooms or whatever.
Do you have
Mm-hmm.
do cops get examinations like for the force?
Like, to be
Like
clear,
in my
for,
old
like-
city, that's what we used to do. Yeah, like monthly checkups, basically physical.
Oh no, we don't do monthly physicals on the police. Not mandatory. If they
No,
want
no,
one,
no.
then
If they
yeah.
wanted, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. But yes, most of the time, if a PD like officer has been put into the ICU, we will say like, or they've had a surgery, we will recommend them to stay off duty for a couple days. If they want that role play, of course, and they can come back and get cleared for duty. But it's not all the time the cops want that. And then here are the vending machines. These vending machines actually do work if you third eye them. You can get drinks and colas and snacks and coffees. These coffee machines are pretty much always
I just love
empty.
chips so much. I just thought you guys were gonna, eat it.
So yeah, this is the meeting room. Does anyone have any questions regarding the meeting room?
I'm assuming we're not going to be using this too often, aside from the daily meetings.
Twice a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep these doors locked at all times. Make sure this door is locked at all times. Over here is the armory. We can go more into this later. But this NPC right here, she is very vital, so pay attention to
Cynthia.
her. Yeah, we call her Cynthia, but like, she doesn't actually have a name. Over here's the cafeteria. This is another door that you need to keep locked at all times. We don't really use this room other than the fridge over here.
Yeah, I
this
was about to
fridge
run the
in
catch up.
character is usually always stocked up with food and drink. It is stocked up with food and drink here, but it's all out of date, so feel free to take it if you want. Also in here is a
Ew.
functional kitchen. It has
I will be
all
giving
the
out food
kitchen
later. Whoever's
necessaries. If you like
Oh
to
shit, I
prepare
forgot
for
to make
the first
tacos.
12, we have a kitchen that you can use.
Wow.
I know
It's
nothing
Taco
about cooking
Tuesday.
in the server.
It's Taco Tuesday.
So
Who
Yeah.
does, to be honest? Who
I
actually
told Callum earlier. I told Callum
I do actually.
like an hour ago I was gonna make tacos.
The only thing I do is search dumpsters for food and then die of food poisoning.
Over. Can you carry me? Because
This is
I
the
can
reception
listen.
area. So
I got you.
I got you.
I gotta go to a meeting.
the
Okay.
receptionists don't actually use this area like at all. This is like the
Up we
front
go.
of the clips. So
Okay. you got
obviously
stolen.
we started at the garage as well. So these 2 doors here and the 2 garage doors down below in the garage are the main ins and outs of the hospital. So if we, for whatever reason, need to put the hospital on lockdown, we'd lock these 2 front doors and the ones down below. But we rarely ever need to put the hospital on lockdown nowadays. I mean, now, even if you lock these doors, there is a way people can still get out. These doors right here, we don't actually have locks to them. This was a separate player-owned business, and those players no longer play here, as far as I'm aware.
Oh no,
So-
they do. They just want to sell
they
it for a
do.
lot of money, so nobody's buying.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
No, yeah, you can do it.
Same
Aren't
with
they trying to
this.
sell
Time
it
in
for
here.
like millions?
No,
Same with
like
this little.
600,000.
Same with this little cafe. We don't usually have access to
so
these
sorry.
That's okay.
doors, but this cafe in character again is a separate player-owned business, so we don't actually have access to lock and unlock these doors. Does anyone have any questions regarding the reception area?
Can we lock this door here?
Nope.
Not the main
No.
door, but like the one that
Nope.
connects. Okay.
Nope.
It is
no.
usually locked though.
It is usually locked, yeah, because this place barely ever opens, but yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
Where do you go on duty?
Oh, yes, of course. Right over here.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I guess
so,
everybody should come over here and go on duty, yes? Go on.
yeah, so
Everybody
guys,
should
third
be
eye
hired
is
on by
clipboard.
now. Hello.
Ooh, first shift.
Howdy, howdy.
Someone new?
I'm now on M's duty.
You can
Let's
either go on duty by /dutying in the chat box or click on this
You knew?
clipboard.
Yeah, just go to you.
/duty.
Invite you to Sam so you can catch up. We've only been doing the tour
neat.
and only
Oh yeah,
talked about,
please,
like, the
please
most
let me know
important
if you
stuff,
need
so,
the
you know.
job.
Ah,
If you haven't given it yet.
There we go. You should have received that.
thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone's coming up to the counter and third eyeing the clipboard to go on duty
yep.
right now. So go ahead and do
Someone's
that.
already dying. Chloe, why are you dying?
No,
I'm
she's
not
not
dying.
enough.
What? I'm okay.
Dispatch is telling me otherwise.
Oh
That's
yeah,
because
no,
you
no,
went
it's
off
'cause-
duty.
Oh.
No,
No,
it's
that
'cause,
was a 13 Bravo. I killed
yeah,
her.
Nico
It
beat me up.
happens.
What's the for
Yeah,
Is
you want to
this-
stab me with that
okay.
sword?
arrow keys?
Yeah, for the dispatch, don't worry. We'll go over dispatch. Don't worry. But yeah,
Alright, are we
basically
all
you
good
have this
to,
clipboard, but you don't have to use it. You just type duty in your text box and you go on duty, type it again to go off duty. Same way for paperwork. When you're on duty, you can go paperwork on and off. Just type it in. You don't need to use it, but don't go on duty if you're somewhere random unless it's because of either a restart or a crash, right? Like, we expect you to only go on duty if you're actually at the hospital, but you don't need to actually swing by the clipboard every time. You're fine to just type it in.
There was something I forgot to go over in the garage. The man, I call him Alejandro, but there's an NPC that stands in the garage. I'm sure everyone's seen him. We can go down if you want. But for TACMed, doctors, I mean, unless you park your personal cars in that garage, that you won't be using him a lot. But Alejandro, he stands by the doors. You just third eye him, and that's where you get your ambulances
Alright,
out and stuff.
Question. Who here doesn't know how to put their hands up? Alright, press H. There you go. Alright, everyone knows how to put their hands up. Whoever
Okay,
doesn't
that's a
know
little
how to
helpful 'cause
use
I was
the
just-
valet NPC, put your hands up. Right, good. So we all know. Alright, we can move on. No need to explain how to park cars.
Right, guys, we're gonna go to the treatment floor, the home of the doctors. Let's go, everyone.
And TACMed when nothing is happening.
Oh yeah, you gotta count the tech med gossip couch for the hospital drama.
Hospital drama.
Hospital drama.
TACMed used to go mostly on patrol, but the issue is right now we don't have guards at
You will
hospital
get
anymore, so we
fucking
prefer for at least some TACMed to stay at hospital at all times if they're not on active calls. So we act as security in case someone wants to come in and be, you know, shitheads with doctors. They only have personal firearms.
Wait, what happened to the guards?
They're gone
They got
because we
removed.
didn't need them because we have like 5 to 10 people on duty with class 3s. We don't need guards.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, we're
Also, I
We should have
believe
the
the
guards
guards
back
cost the
personally.
city money, so they weren't needed.
I got shot in the face when there's no TACMeds around. It was really embarrassing.
no.
We were on patrol.
This is the waiting room. I think this is like the non-platinum waiting room
This
we
is
call
where
it
we
now.
kick people out who don't have insurance at
Yeah.
all that want to wait for.
And then this
brain
is
patients.
another spot people can wait. And then the vending machines, obviously the vending machines, you know.
Trust me, you
vending
will love
machines,
this
they
coffee
work.
vending machine. You will be addicted to
Yes,
it. That's
they're
what we
very
all drink because
useful.
we do get food, but we don't get drinks. So
Reception
get
desk is where
some drinks.
receptionists mainly station, but there's nothing special about behind here. You can sit on these chairs, they are sittable. So the treatment floor is where all the magic happens. I'll go more into detail with the doctors, and I'm sure Nico will go more into specifics later with the tagmare, but I'll just do a brief rundown because I'm sure everyone knows how it works by now. If not, obviously I'll go into it later. But these rooms all along here are the 95 rooms. This closet in here, sorry, just behind you two, that closet in there is a storage closet. I don't actually think we use it for anything. People just throw shit in here usually.
Yeah, we changed it.
It's also hard. We change in there, yeah.
This is these are all 95 rooms. Every single one. These are all
I've been
95
in so
rooms.
many of these.
And then these are the treatment beds. Lady Gaga disease is on the floor. Everyone praise Gaga. And then over here in character, this is the platinum ward where we put platinum insurance members on the bed. Hallelujah. And then over here, these are all just the regular poor people's beds.
That's where I lie.
On the live server, this door locks. It doesn't lock on a dev server. We probably should keep this locked at all times. Then these are the OR rooms. Now, a lot of people don't know these surgery beds actually do heal you as well as the regular beds do. So if you ever need to take a patient straight into surgery, these beds also heal them, as well as the beds on the treatment floor as well. This is where doctors will spend a good portion of their time as role players in the surgery rooms. Nothing special about these rooms. I mean, I'll go into it later, but does everyone know how to put someone on a bed?
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Yep.
All right,
You
cool.
pick them up and interact with the bed, yeah?
Yeah, you third eye the bed, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Option to lay in it and put patient in. Don't lay in it, put patient. Don't want to go into bed with a patient on you.
Another OR room, literally the same as the first one. Keep these doors locked at all times. And over here we have a few more rooms that are useful for doctor role players. So this is the dentist room. If you ever want to yank some
Sex
teeth
room.
out of patient. Yeah, or the sex room. Do it in here. Fabulous. Other than that, no one uses this room.
Gonna be some
The
quality
herp
herp
room.
Like
in here.
not a lot of people use it, so make use of it if you can. In here is the tomograph room, the CT scan room. If a patient has like a brain injury or something, or a spinal injury, usually you just, do a little head scan in here and determine if you want to go into details. Honestly, you don't have to use these rooms. You can just do a port. I mean, they don't really. I mean, they kind of exist, but you can just do portable MRIs and X-rays. Sometimes I get super lazy and I just can't be bothered to bring a patient through here. That's kind of bad on my part, but that's also just my character because she's a lazy bitch. But yeah, so totally MRI room. And then obviously in here, these are like the I don't even know what you call it, like
Control room.
control room. Yeah.
You go in here to run the stuff. That's
Yeah,
going on in-
I'm sorry, I'm extremely tired.
You should have go to sleep.
No, it's fine.
MRI room, I just put a shitload of
Red
metal
Bull
in
time.
somebody, and then nobody told anybody, and you guys almost killed him in the MRI.
I had like I had a really nice
There's
dinner.
also
It gave me
it can
a lot of
also be a
energy.
CT as well.
So
Because
this
CT
is
machines
the
look like
X-ray
machines.
room. Essentially the same thing as the MRI CT scan room, but an X-ray. Yeah, nothing
Oh.
special. The bed doesn't do anything. So if you want to give a patient an X-ray, this is where you do it.
Radiology, let's all get radiosed.
These doors always stay locked at all times. We don't usually let people in here for no reason. Right, everyone. Now we can go to the third floor. So everyone go to an elevator and recovery.
Stop bringing me to the recovery.
I've been in this hospital way too much.
Right, guys, we can start our tour this way. So on the left, this used to be formerly known as the crying room, aka where all the doctors would go after their long, hard shifts and, cry and sleep. But this is now just a storage room. There
No
is
crying in the hospital.
There's no
so-
flamethrowers there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, this is just a
Well,
storage
now
room.
I have to see if there's flamethrowers.
We don't really use this room for anything else. I also don't think this. Does this door lock on the main server?
No,
No.
No, yeah, so it doesn't lock. Alright, back here, I like to think of this as a staff-only area. We really shouldn't bring anyone back here. staff unless it's for good reason.
There's no locks on doors, so anybody can walk.
Yeah, there's
here.
no. Yeah,
Keep
yeah,
going.
there is no locks on these doors. This is the staff room. If you need to go AFK or go 10-7, this is usually where you can just sit. Other than that, no one really uses this room for anything. I don't think these arcade machines aren't usable. There is a fridge here on the live server that people stock up with food and drink.
The fucking dirty ass microwave and
Oh, the
plates
microwave
is so,
works.
it's so realistic on actual fucking hospital break rooms. Like those things are usually fucking filthy.
These are the toilets. Self-explanatory. I think Dal lives in one of these in character.
Apparently
you
sound
shouting?
insulated.
Yeah.
I'm shouting.
Oh, these are fucking sound absorbent as fuck.
Just got here. These are the toilets. Again, if you need to go AFK, you want to roleplay your character's taking a shit, then there you go, toilets.
We need to start having meetings in the toilet. These things do not let any sound out.
Well, Dale owns this one apparently.
Yeah, he does.
This is the this is the locker room. So quick
Everyone in the locker room
function,
now.
Quick
I've
quick
been-
fact about the locker room is that these lockers you technically have 3 personal lockers. Now in character these are labeled, but don't be fooled. No one can access your locker and you can't access other people's locker. You technically have 3 lockers. So this wall is a storage space, this wall is a storage space, and the wall over there is a storage space. And you just access them by third eyeing and left clicking on them. Now at the end of your shift, you should always be leaving your equipment, including radio, MDT, uniform, in these lockers, with the exception of your SAMS badge. Everything else goes in the locker. Don't take your equipment out with you when you clock off duty, and also make sure you clock off, as well when you clock off.
Unless you don't
If you-
RP going off duty and you just go to sleep in the locker room, then you can
Yeah,
just log off, don't worry
yeah.
about it. But if you're
I do-
actually,
yeah.
doing RP off duty, then yeah, everything stays here, or you'll get fired. So have fun with that. I
Imagine
will
role-playing
notice
off
it.
duty.
Trust me, I will fucking notice it. I have
Couldn't-
eyes everywhere. You will
Yeah,
not
Carlos
get
seems
away with leaving
perpetually
with
on
Sam's
duty.
equipment.
That's because I don't do anything else.
They watch
Hey
the
guys,
bank account like a
this
hawk.
is the hospital and TACMED office respectively. There's really nothing special about these rooms. It's just where you can go and role play if you need to use them and have a meeting or get cussed out by one of high command or command. This is where it usually happens. Fun fact about these doors: you can actually break the glass and walk straight through even if it's locked.
Yeah, I do that all the
It's a
time in
small
spoon
oversight.
kidding.
Just a tad oversight, but it's fine. Okay,
The
does
glass
anyone,
is locally instanced also, so sometimes you'll just see people walk through. That's what's happening there. Is that
Oh.
their glass is broken?
Does anyone have any questions regarding the third floor so far? Or just any of the tour so far?
No, seems pretty explanatory.
All right, cool. All right, we can now move on to the closet. This is where Maria Nette and Rich Randy sleep.
Not anymore.
There's also
Only me. Fuck Rich Randy.
oh, just Maria Nette.
He doesn't sleep with me anymore.
There's also other unspeakable things that happen in here, but
Multiple
FOIC.
stabbings.
I pounded Callum there yesterday.
What the fuck?
Context.
These are the ICU rooms. We always keep these doors unlocked unless there is a good roleplay reason not to. Like, for example, the overseer is in the ICU. Then we should probably keep the door locked. We always keep these doors unlocked because sometimes players want to put their character in the intensive care unit and they want to keep them there overnight. So you would leave them unlocked. So if they log on and there's no one to discharge them and they want to leave, then they're not locked in. If it's a government employee, then and if it's an important government employee, like I don't know, the chief of police or something, then maybe lock it. And you know that they're a high target. Maybe if it's within good roleplay reason, lock the door. They are a government employee, so they can unlock the doors. That's another thing I should mention. Every single government employee, I think, with the exception of DOJ,
Yeah, police and
has
rangers have access to all.
Yeah,
of it.
has access to all of our doors. We only have access to PD garage. We don't have access to any other government building except the PD's garage.
And the DA.
Do we have access to the DA?
No,
I don't think so.
We don't have
No.
access to the DA, and I don't think DA has
Oh.
access to our locks. It's only police.
No,
and
they
rangers.
don't. It's just police and rangers.
Okay.
All right. Any questions regarding ICU rooms? We'll go more into these as doctors later.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Let's go to the last area of the hospital, another area that only government employees such as SAMs, rangers, or I feel about coming on. No, and PD can access the roof. So if you ever see a civilian that's not a government employee up here, it's because somebody let them up or they landed on the roof. So if you third eye the elevator and go to roof.
Why? Why does it always choose you?
You just love me so much, that's why.
Okay, this is the roof. This is where TACMED, not doctors, don't do a Britney, or a Paris, or a Chanel. This is where TACMED pull out helicopters for when they need to do. These doors stay locked at all times, and you just third eye this guy right here, and you can pull out. I think TACMED have 4 helicopters.
We have 4 plus 1 old.
And then this is the roof. This is the roof of Eclipse. How fun.
It's very roof-like.
I don't know if there's anything. Clipping is fine.
Oh, okay.
Why did you get that?
I figured out how the menu works.
Yeah.
Oh my god, did you really? You can spawn yourself stuff in. I don't even know. that.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Stupid
there's
bitch.
anything Nico wants to add in before we kind of wrap up the tour. So I'll let them.
No
let them decide.
prostitutes and no gambling on rooftop and no parties.
Yeah.
You will be fired,
Mhm.
executed, thrown out roof, died. Ugh.
But what if I'm the prostitute? Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Now, I have a question on that. Is that exclusively the rooftop? Like, can we organize like a roulette table in the break room?
No.
No. Nope,
Aw.
nope, 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 nope. No whimsy.
Day one already fired.
Here.
Help.
No.
Oh, are you? What happened?
I don't
Did you
know
die?
what happened. I'm not dead, but I'm dead.
You ragdolling?
No, I'm not. Ah, there we go. Thank you.
It happens to me a lot.
That's
All right, then.
weird. I have the prompt to sync my position, but I don't know. No, that's really
Well,
it. That's the whole.
Is there is there any other questions anyone has about the talks? Then now we can go into armory training, which is going to be very hectic.
Armory training?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember to turn on your reticle.
Oh, I want to wear
Oh,
a PD
right.
uniform. I can't carry anymore.
Oh, yeah.
How do I put on the badge?
Why can't I give you this? Drop it on
Sorry,
floor.
guys. Let's go to the first floor.
Drop it on floor.
Gimme.
Can I take the fast down?
Can you take the what? Sorry.
Should I do it?
The fast way down to the first floor?
Yeah, sure.
What?
Alright, see y'all down there.
Pussy. Shoot me in the head,
I
Jesus
did-
Christ!
I didn't hear what you said. Is all. Whoa. Oh, there you go.
It's like lemmings watching
All
them
right.
jump off a cliff.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let me just. Where did Oh. How'd you do that?
Well, I'm a god. Watch me.
I see.
What's up?
If you do slash heal, it'll heal yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, thanks.
There we go.
That was fun. I'll do that again.
Yeah, we need to.
I was trying to
need to know those
Spider-Man
commands.
attach myself to the wall as I was dropping.
Were we supposed to go inside or way down here?
Nah, that's fine.
I figured out no clip.
We'll go there.
I don't know. I just saw I saw everybody drop like lemmings, so I thought fuck it, just follow.
I mean, it'll- it'll
Why are you?
self-preservation
Oh,
stick,
do you not have
got
the
it.
boots?
This just looks incredibly wrong.
I don't know what that
thanks.
is.
All right,
guys,
everybody
the
back
armory.
in. First floor.
Let's go.
I see James Randall is biking on the highway. So
She's right. That don't look right.
All right. Do you want to do this part, and then we can kind of split off
The guns.
into tech med
Yeah,
doctors
sure.
from
All right,
there? Okay,
everyone
cool.
go ahead and guess what's the first rule about the armory? Very important one.
All things are accessible to the
Don't
armory.
touch shit.
We do not
Check storage
like
first.
redundant purchases. You will always check storage to find something you want before you spend our funds to buy it. Because everything you buy through the armory goes from our budget. So if we found out that you've been buying things that you could just grab from storage because someone else bought it before you, you'll be reprimanded or fired, depending on severity of the case. You'll probably be fired. So never buy something without checking if it's in storage first. Understood? There's a
That's
big ass
arson in
fucking
storage, right?
poster that says check storage first, and you will always do so. All right, now I want everybody to go ahead and grab yourself an MDT and a radio from the supplies section of the armory. First option.
Also, on the live server, Chloe has organized the storage in this thing. Please
Alright.
don't mess it up.
They
I
will
will
mess
be
it up.
disappointed.
I organized the storage 16 times. It never lasted more than 24 hours. You are a sweet innocent
disappoint
child
Chloe,
thinking
though.
it's worth. Yeah, but
No, I know.
I wanted this.
It's just
Chloe.
my
Fuck
little
Chloe. She's
autism
too innocent.
organization
I hate her.
sense.
Fuck Chloe. Oh, see, if I met Chloe, I would punch her in the face. Very targeted.
That's not. Okay. Well, apparently I was
I
trying
don't
to
see
sit in
that.
the seat.
Not
Don't-
Paris
Don't show me
Onyx.
that.
Why am I bald?
Oh, I see. Okay, that's the storage. Got it.
Only one person
Yeah,
can
take a
be
look
in
at
it
all
at
the
a time.
options. They're pretty self-explanatory. Everyone go into supplies and get yourself an MDT and a radio. I have a good
channel
question. How many of you
68?
read the SOPs or found the SOPs and read them before coming here? My answer is probably zero.
What does SOP stand for?
Standard
actually have
operating
that.
procedures. It's a
I
document
read
that
it.
specifies.
I
the
got given
standard
them,
operating procedures.
like
I
a
read them
week
the
ago,
last
and
time.
I've skimmed
Have they
through them
changed?
on the
Or is it
occasion.
all still the same?
Hello.
Revised, they should be the same, depending on which one.
Yeah,
you're
okay, yeah.
reading. But they're lacking a lot. But yeah, I kind of figure I should probably start pointing out that people are supposed to read them. So that's our bad. But does
I've skimmed
everybody have
through
an
it,
MDT
like
and a
on the
radio?
occasion.
Rip the
Same.
undersecretary
Yes.
role.
All right,
Yes.
who doesn't? Is there anyone who doesn't have it? Raise your hands up if you don't have it and you're around. All right, everybody has one. All right. Can anybody right click on a radio and see an option that is pretty special for a radio? Doesn't appear on other items. No. Right click, not left click.
Copy
Directions,
serial?
people. Yeah, exactly. Radios and guns that TACMED will get have serial numbers. Those serial numbers are important because that's how we know what equipment is yours. On the live server, whenever you get a radio or a gun, you have to input that serial number onto your patient's profile. Don't worry, we'll get there once we actually go through MDT training. And you'll all be getting, your first time supplies with command by your side telling you exactly what to do, so you don't have to worry about forgetting it. All right, next up, everybody should get their uniform. For doctors, it's pretty normal. It's gonna be scrubs of whatever color you choose. For now, the rules are they gotta be matching. We're gonna try to push to maybe allow a little bit of fun with the colors, but for now, they gotta be matching. So all the doctors just choose a matching color of scrubs and get them from the closet. For TACMED, it's a little bit more complicated. Your shirts have ranks. Can anybody guess what a initiate rank would look like? Take a look at the closet and see all the different ranks.
Yeah, it's 1V.
It's very much single chevron is the initiate rank, which will be the dress shirt you will be wearing during your training time at TACMED. So why don't you go ahead and everyone find a single chevron shirt of the style they like? Long sleeve, short sleeve, tie, no tie, whatever. Go ahead and buy the one you like when it comes to TACMED.
Doctors also grab stethoscope, radio earpiece, GPS watch, and
Did I get this one right?
a cleaning kit.
Yes, you did. Good job.
Perf.
Wait, what'd you say, Brittany?
So grab a radio earpiece, stethoscope, matching scrubs, GPS watch, and a cleaning kit.
Oh, yeah, everyone grab a GPS watch from
Where do I get the cleaning kit from?
it's in the supplies.
Yeah.
But everyone get the GPS watch from the closet because it's actually it serves a function.
sorry,
It
over
shows
here.
you the map all the time, so you don't have to pull out your phone or be in a vehicle. And if you don't see the map when you have the watch on, that's because you don't have it enabled in your F3 settings, which you can do by going F3 settings and then finding what is it? The option will be HUD GPS shows watch shows map. Yep, you gotta enable it, and then you'll be able to see the map when you have the GPS watch on your wrist.
Can
I'm sorry,
I
can
buy
you repeat that
the-
again? I was grabbing some.
Go ahead and grab the watch, put it on your wrist.
I did it. Yeah, I get that.
Yep. And can you see the map?
No, I only see the GPS.
Yep, that's why. No, wait, what do you mean GPS? Like on your.
Do you see a mini map in the bottom left?
No.
No.
All right,
Oh.
then you gotta go into F3 and settings, and then find the option for.
Oh my gosh, there's so many doctors. I'm so happy to have you all here.
HUD GPS watch shows map. You gotta enable that,
Okay, but how many of us do you think have?
and then you'll be able to see it at all times.
Can I, since we're
Perfect,
here
got
on
it.
this server, can I buy the different types of shirts and
Yes,
test it
yes,
out to see
absolutely.
what's
Yep,
what?
yep.
Into the what?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
gonna do
so
that
you
as well.
can definitely see which one you like.
Hopefully all of
On the
you.
live server, you
So we're
might
just
be
buying
forced
shirts.
to wear the one we give you. You might not have a choice until you're like full operator. And we're like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, you can splurge out, buy the one you like instead of only using the one that's available already instead.
There is at least one of each style available for initiates
What about
in
the ones
storage.
with the TACMed vest? Should we get that, or is that just?
Yep. I'm gonna be talking to only TACMed now. You all get a vest, get the pants you enjoy. You can also just test all the pants. You have to wear the dress shirt as initiate. You're not allowed to wear the TACMed top, but you can wear any pants you like, including the TACMed tactical pants. So go ahead and try the ones you like. See which ones you like.
Ooh.
The TACMed pants.
The consensus
Real
on
thick.
hats.
The
Hmm?
the
I think
TACMed
I'm about to
pants
screw
minus
that,
the
dude.
belt looks
Can
fucking
men wear the
amazing.
skirt?
No.
No,
Oh.
Wait, what's the consensus on hats?
shirt is not for you.
I mean, there's no. It has to be approved by High Command. As long as it's not animal ears or some sort of animal tail, then I'm pretty sure you'll be okay.
So I'm allowed to wear my beret.
Probably, definitely.
Yay!
You're not TACMed. TACMed would not be allowed because they have to wear an EMS cap, which both of you will now get. Well, one
I
of
have
you
already
has
put it on.
You're
Yes, me
already
too.
ready for it? Perfect. Alrighty.
Damn,
right,
we look cute.
Missing GPS watch, I'm noticing.
Huh?
Do I get a vest as well? Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
And also, if you notice, if
how
you're
do
going
I
to wear
spawn
these
it?
pants, they come in with boots, so
I
you
don't
don't
know,
actually have to buy the
yeah,
item
yeah,
for
yeah.
boots.
Pantherist did
Just
it,
wear the pants
Tiffany.
and they come with shoes. And you also don't get the mask yet.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yep. Mask and helmet and TACMed top is for operators and above. You gotta, be very easily identifiable for now.
Just really quickly, the GPS watch does have a function. If you go to your F3 and go to settings,
Go ahead and get that as well.
and then go down to
Yeah, you do. You can buy guns as well. And
It's
shitload of
HUD
ammo.
GPS watch shows map, and that's how you see the map when you're not in a car on your screen in the bottom left corner. That's what a GPS watch function is.
You'll
I only
find,
found this out
gun
like a
and
week
ammo
ago,
in
by the way.
supplies.
Oh,
As well
that's
as
kind of
medkit and
fucked
bandage.
up.
Go ahead
The
and
earpiece makes
buy
my
a few of
mustache
those as well. On
disappear.
the live server is gonna.
Oh, you don't
do
have
one
to.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't
What
have
the
to
fuck?
do
What kind of
then.
fucking earpiece is this?
I think it's because
Earpiece?
it's a
I'm
mask.
getting earpiece.
Done.
Perfect. I'm gonna buy a
Oh yeah,
flashlight
nice.
as well.
That's awesome.
I could do a disappearing mustache trick.
All right, I think unless there's anything you want to go over together, should we split off now, or do you want to go over MDT and radio first together?
I mean, I got like all of my training moving forward is all useful for everyone, so we can just continue together. Because next up, I just have a quick word about chain of command. Anybody who doesn't know what a chain of command is, raise your hands.
Respect the cock.
All right, blue with a black ponytail. What is cock? What is chain of command? I'm putting you on a spot.
Chain of command is whoever is above you. So there is example, there is the employee, the manager, the general manager, and just keeps on going up and up, hide the command.
To the overseer, which is the highest.
Yep. Basically, you don't skip ranks that are available. If you have a question or an issue, you go to the next person that is above you. So that is, whoever is available. If it just so happens that you're a literal trainee and the only other employee available is the overseer, you obviously go to the overseer. But if there's somebody below the overseer, you will not go straight to the overseer to complain about stuff. You will go to the person above you. That's your, immediate superior, etc. Same as with actual asking questions. If you do not like the answer, you will not then ask the question again to someone else because you didn't like the answer. Yep, go ahead.
If I was like having a conversation with the overseer and I thought of the question, would I go out my way to seek someone else, or would I just ask them?
It's fine. It's not that serious. You don't have to worry about it. You will not be reprimanded for, talking with someone who is, leagues above you in ranks, while someone else is. Yeah, no, that's fine. And nobody really respects the cock anyway. Everyone always goes to the highest available anyway. So, but if it's like an actual complaint, right? You found an employee doing something bad, right? And you have two people to choose from. You will choose the person next in rank, not the highest one in rank, right? There you go. There's a whole list on the wall. Overseer, underseer, vanguard, specialist, operator, initiate, new hire. New hire is somebody who just got hired. They're not trained yet. Initiate is someone who's currently going through training. Operator is a full employee. Specialist is a senior employee. Vanguard is your command. Underseer is high command. And then overseer is the owner of everything. There was a question. Go ahead.
Yes. This is basically one of my characters' things is like, I don't want to offend anyone and stuff like that.
Yep.
Can I wear that balaclava, or is that on duty, or is that for?
That will be once you become a full operator, because that's part of the tactical outfit, and the tactical outfit is reserved for when you are an operator, because it covers your face. We cannot easily identify you, so we want to make sure that only people who are already fully trained can wear that, so we don't have to worry about someone being inexperienced. Same for mask, like the helmet, etc., etc. So you will be able to wear it one day.
Yeah, good.
So that is basically the chain of command. If you go ask mom if you can do something and she says no, you will not then run to dad and be like, Dad, can I do that? No. I will punch you in the face and fire you on the spot.
shopping. That shit's cringe.
Exactly. But that's basically chain of command.
How much ammo should we have when we go on duty?
It'll be in the SOPs, and we'll tell you on the live server, but it's gonna be like you're allowed to have 60 rounds plus 30 fit in the magazine, so technically you buy 90 the first time. But
wait, what? I thought we had to do just 60 total.
No, because it says you can carry 60 bullets, right? You're not carrying the bullets in your gun, silly. Big brain. You got a big brain.
So that's why you always run out of ammo when I see you.
I know. I was just thinking that.
She's just bad shot.
I'm a very good shot.
Anyway, why don't we
How
go
are you
to
running
the,
out of
up to the
60
treatment
ammo?
floor and begin dispatch training? We'll that little icon you all saw will explain how to play with that, because mostly gonna be for TACMED, but for you as well, because doctors also can answer dispatch calls and other stuff like that. So we might as well start with all the actual training of all the mechanics that we'll encounter. So everyone to training treatment floor by the beds. Going up. Yep, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. Oh, fuck. I have been ambushed.
How do I put on flashlight?
E.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yep, I forgot to mention. Obviously, you can buy that as well. That comes with the gun. So, dispatch to make the thing appear and remain here. You use your up arrow by default. If you have a keyboard without arrows, you're fucked. So yeah,
Rest
to
in
make it
peace.
appear. Yeah, press it again to make it disappear. Don't worry, as long as you're on duty, it will show up once a call comes in. It's just a difference of if you want it to only show up when a call comes in, or if you want to see it at all times. That's the difference with the up arrow. You either make it permanent, or only appear when a call comes in. Then you can also press the U button on your keyboard to move it around. Sadly, it does not save over restart, so you'll have to. If you don't like where it's at, you're gonna have to move it through every restart. But you'll live through that.
Can
Another
I pull
thing.
dispatch up if I closed it?
Sorry, what was that?
Can I pull the? I closed dispatch earlier. How do I pull it up?
Up arrow.
Up on
The up arrow.
Up arrow, yeah.
No, it doesn't work.
Oh, do /duty if you haven't done it already.
Oh yeah, are you not on duty? You should be on duty because you went on.
I am.
Huh.
Is it because he's an EMT?
No.
Do you not have the radio
No.
on?
Radio isn't necessary for dispatch. It's
Yeah,
only
you don't
duty.
need. Yeah.
All right, check your. I guess we're going to settings and keybinds and checking that. Yep, you can. Yep. So for you, it's just the keybinds are fucked. Obviously, it's in the 5M. It's gonna be what? Where are they? Ah, yeah, it's all dispatch, mouse control, next message, etc., etc. You'll find it. You'll see whatever it is for you. Next up, obviously, left and right. You go between calls. The ones to the right are recent ones. The ones to the left are the older ones. You also see how long ago they've been sent. If you have the dispatch up, it doesn't update the time, so you might need to flick through them to see the time updated. In that case, because it doesn't update automatically, only updates when you pull it up or change the tab. And then one last arrow left, down arrow. That is to respond to a call. By responding to a call, it will do two things. First thing, for every single call that comes in, it'll mark it on your GPS. So the location where the call came from will be marked on your GPS. The second thing that might happen is if it's a 47 call, which is an injured person, which is something people who got injured can do. Everybody here knows how to press F2 when they're down to ask for help. When you respond through dispatch to that basically changes the message they are seeing from, you can respawn in X amount of time to help is on the way, but you can still respawn. It also changes the time from 3 minutes until respawn to 20 minutes until respawn. So to TACMET specifically, since you will be one responding to that, if you ever find yourself that you have responded to a call and you are either unable to attend it or cannot find the patient in the scene for whatever reason, you always have to remember to unrespond it, because in a rare case scenario where either the player is invisible or just hard to locate, or whatever reason, you do not want to leave them with that timer bumped to 20 minutes, because as soon as you realize you cannot attend to them, you have to unrespond, so they get the choice again for that timer to go down, and they get to respawn immediately instead of having to wait 20 minutes with no RP. So it's very important that if you're not able to help a person, and for whatever reason, to always unrespond on dispatch, because unless that number in the top left corner of that box is 0, they will be stuck there waiting. It's not something you have to worry about. 13 Bravos and 13 Alphas, those are not actually down individual, doesn't affect the timer at all. It's only the 47 call, which is just the typical asking for help because I've been shot in the head. That is dispatch, and then that was mostly for TACMET. Now the radio, something for everybody. By default, I forgot what the keybind for the radio is. Left alt. I think no, that's for talking to the radio. Whatever, you can just use the radio to pull it up. So everybody, pull up your radios. I recommend having.
Is
them
there
on
a
your
default for
hotbar.
radio?
It is. I don't know it. Because I'm a dummy.
I have mine set to my side mouse key so I don't bump it by accident.
Yep, me too. So everyone got up their radios. The the toggle on the middle of the radio is to turn it on and off. Once your screen is green, you can click on that screen and input the channel you want to go on. Our channel is 1, 1 through 4. By default, you're going to be using 1 unless the situation calls for a different channel. So everybody go ahead and type in 1 and press enter to confirm it. There are obviously actual buttons that let you change the volume. Never use the mute button, never use the ring button, it doesn't work. And then presets, if you want to be fancy and set up presets with the knob to the right, you can use that to set up presets so you can quicker switch between channels. But you can also set up keybind to, you know, be able to change volume and end channels with just the keybind. So that is something I recommend somebody who wants to use the radio a lot to set up, because it's convenient. I cannot, because I'm a broke bitch who doesn't have a numpad, which means I've run out of buttons to bind. I'm just stuck using the radio like pleb. But right.
Hey, same.
Yep, I want everyone here to hold their radio button. Just don't say anything, just hold your radio button, the speak on radio button. If you know what it is, it's left hold by default, if I'm not mistaken. Just hold it. So I want to see everyone's hand up, so I know that you know how to use it. Yep. No, not hand up like that. Just hold on to it. It's Pixel Chick. It's left hold by default. Should be left hold by default. If it's not, you might have rebounded by playing on a different server or something like that. So
it will be different to the push to talk key. It will be in the 5M settings instead of the GTA Online ones.
Yep. Don't worry. It's basically you can find it in keybinds later. Don't worry about it. But obviously you have to use both the radio and push to talk at the same time to talk over radio. Just clicking the radio will just, you know, have you silent and not transmit any voice. So that's how you use the radio. Now, how to actually speak on radio, it's extremely simple. We use the format that is "Hey you, it's me," which means you you go onto radio and you grab the person's attention who you want to reach, and then introduce yourself next. So if I want to speak to Chloe, I would have to check what's her. Chloe, what's your call sign? Because I forget.
196.
Oh, all right, 196. So if I 131 wanted to reach Chloe 196, I would go onto radio and say, dispatch 196 from 131 direct. I said dispatch, which means
196.
I said dispatch, which means I'm referring to, I'm talking to everyone here. That's basically what dispatch means. It's when a single individual or a team is talking to everyone. I called out Chloe's call sign and then my call sign so that she knows that I want to talk with her. The same way you would go on a PD radio and say PD from TACMED to get PD's attention. You wouldn't say, TACMED from PD or whatever else. You would say PD because you're on PD radio asking for PD, and you say from TACMED because you are TACMED and you're requesting them to talk to you. Is that understandable? Hey you, it's me.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, you will all be assigned call signs, which we'll probably do once we're done here. You don't have to use your prefix, which is M for medic, on our radio because we're all medics, so you'll just be using your number, right? We don't say M131, we say 131, just your number, right? So you don't have to worry about the prefix medic because, again, we're all medics. Yes.
Unless we're on someone else's radio.
If anyone else needs to rebind their stuff, it'll be under key bindings 5M toward the bottom.
Yep. Everything discussed here has custom keybinds in 5M keybinds, so you can go ahead and take a look there if you want later.
Rebound literally everything.
I can imagine. So did I. That's why I struggle with telling people what's the default for anything, because I don't fucking know. I haven't used default keybinds for like a year by now. Right, but that's basically the radio. Any questions about the radio? Right, you will be trained very hard on the radio. We will expect professionalism on the live server in character, and you will be taught well how to use the radio. You will not pass your initiate phase. And I guess I'm only speaking to TACMED. Doctors don't have to worry about radio too much. So next up, something that doctors will have to worry a lot about is the MDT. By default, F7 pulls up your MDT, but you can also just have it in your, quick access, do 1 through 5 or whatever. But everybody, feel free to pull up your MDT. Thank you. That's
What did you say? What did you say was the quick bind?
F7 is for MDT. Default. Pull it up. Yep. You can also just type MDT in text chat as well. Pull it up. There's a lot of things. Pixel, you're good. You want us to continue?
The first thing I'm seeing in the MDT on patient database is a case of vagina dentana.
Yeah, that happens.
Mine's big fat dong with the report ID.
Yeah,
I think Pixel
this is the first one that
Everyone
this
feel
is the
free
first
to,
one I fucking noticed.
Yep. Everyone feel free to
I
go into MDT. At the top, you'll notice we have tabs. You can open new tabs, and all of them are separate. So you don't have to worry about losing stuff. You can always just open stuff in a new tab if you need to check something else. That's very useful. The tabs also have memory of the single page you were on previously. So you can go back one page. I'm pretty sure you cannot do more than one back. Oh, no, maybe you can. I don't remember. Anyway, then you have obviously the three tabs: the home, patients database, and insurance database. From home, dashboard is the default tab that you'll open up for you. It'll be the public board, which is the boring, old, outdated information that we have to change and actually put useful stuff on their own live server because it's currently useless, and we're wasting a lot of time and stuff. But if you're wondering, all of the government radio channels will be listed on that dashboard. So if you ever have to contact the Rangers or DOJ and you have no idea what channel they're on, it's listed there. So that's good. And then on the right, for all the non-command members, you'll see your notes. You'll also see your notes if you go specifically under home to the notes tab. Those are your personal notes. You can put whatever the fuck you want with them. We recommend putting, we recommend either copying or making new templates for documentations, paperwork that you'll be doing as SAMs, but you can put anything in here. The thing about notes that is special compared to all the normal document you'll be working on, they don't save unless you click the save button. So always remember to click that save button if you're going to be writing somewhere in there, because if you put down your MDT without saving and you pull it back up, you're fucked. It's gone. You don't have to worry about it when you're doing invoices or medical reports. All of that just stays, but notes, nah, you'll be fucked. So always remember to spam the shit out of that save button in the top right if you want to write something. Under that, there's active personnel. You will see everyone who's currently on duty, their call sign, their name, if they're on paperwork. When people are on paperwork, that usually means they are 10-6 or 10-7, which means they are on break, either actually doing paperwork or just being AFK.
Where did you see that?
Under home, we got dashboard, notes, and then active personnel.
There you.
Yep. And then under that we have roster. Do not go there. It's outdated, useless. We just use the government tab on the F3 menu. So we can move from home to patients database. First up will be patients. Can anybody open up patients? Try looking me up. Going to go ahead and show my ID so you can see it. That is me, I swear to God, I'm not a catfish.
A nice?
Huh?
I have someone else's.
Oh yeah, just hide it and there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but you don't have insurance.
Wow, poor.
Right. You can search up people by either their full name or state ID. Obviously, state ID makes it a lot easier to find them in case they have a very unique name that's easy to write. But all of that you can write that. You can find patients.
Wait, you said they don't have insurance? They have silver.
Yeah.
What?
Did you
Yeah,
find
they've
the
got
wrong?
silver
Oh,
insurance.
sounds like you found the wrong person. Were you already looking at someone's ID?
I think I might
Penelope
Could
Inc.
you flash ID again?
100243.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're probably
I see.
looking at someone else's ID.
Yeah, I was.
Yep, you can. Those are the medical. Those are medical patient profiles. They are different from criminal ones that PD has access to. Completely separate. We don't have access to their profiles. They don't have access to our profiles. It obviously stays all the personal information, date of birth, insurance, which will be useful for you to check to know what kind of treatment they deserve. If they deserve to be insulted or praised for being a good insurance holder. There's also the notes that act the same as the that act the exact same way. Yeah, I'm getting hit.
Ooh, thank you, Maddie.
Notes that work in the middle exactly the same as your notes do. You can put whatever you want in them on the patient's profile that's relevant. You know, if there's like a condition you feel like it's important to put in, or something else, or someone is being trespassed, or someone is just being a dick, or something else, you can always just type it in there. Remember to save it, because it's the notes, it's not paperwork, it's not gonna save if you don't save it. And on the bottom of those profiles, you will see 3 tabs.
A quick question.
Yep, go ahead.
Can other people see those notes, or is that just your personal notes on that specific patient?
that is not personal notes. Those are patient notes. Everybody who has
All
access to medical profile will be able to see it. That's not personal notes about the patient. That's just the body of their profile. Everyone else will be able to see it. So it's like public information that is relevant to their medical profile. Yep. Was there another question?
When's our first break so I can go to the toilet
You can
and get
go
a
to
cup of
toilet
coffee?
now. You can go to toilet now, because all of that will be explained to you as we train you up in character as well, so you don't have to worry too much about it.
Oh yeah, I could just bring up your stream.
Yeah, you
Phone.
can. Yeah, you can. Go ahead, cheater. Stream sniper.
Yeah,
Report it.
watch the stream while he's going to the toilet.
All right, I guess we can move on then. On the bottom of those profiles, you will see medical reports, medical invoices, and emergency contacts. 3 relevant tabs. Medical reports will be for non-invoice detailed reports of surgery, etc., etc. Invoices are for less detailed reports, including, the actual invoice part. So when people get charged, it's either going to have enough detail to go by, or no detail at all, and it'll be just to charge people, while the medical report has all the actual information. Don't worry, we'll get to that. And obviously, 3rd tab, phone emergency contacts. Everybody can set their own emergency contacts. All they have to do is just open up, find the contact they want to set as their emergency contact on their phone, and if they scroll down on that contact page, the last option is just big red option that says add as emergency contact. So anybody can do it, but the tricky thing is nobody does it, nobody knows how to do it. So in most cases, if you ever find someone who's going into coma, etc., in a situation where you would need to contact emergency contacts, you will probably need to quote unquote check patient for notes in pocket if he wants to contact somebody, because most people don't know about emergency contacts and how to set them up, but they still deserve to, not be left alone in the treatment room without anybody able to find them. So, there it is. All right, that's the patient's profile. Below that, we have medical reports, which we will not go into at all, because we can just do the same with medical invoices. But if you open it up, you will see all the recent ones. You will also, on the top, will see medical report, which will allow you to make one. You can also just click on add new to do that, and then right section will be archive. This is where all medical reports go. If you're unable to search up a report in the recent tab, that's because it's too old and it's not in that tab. You just gotta look it up in archive. It's very simple, pretty self-explanatory. Under medical reports in the patient's database, we have Kanban board. We don't have a lot in here, but we do have a lot on the live server. These, go ahead and enter that cadet board right now. These hold a lot of information. That's where we have our ICU ward details with all the, rooms separate. That's where we have our cadet board that, details all the stuff about our cadets, so you know how we're doing. There's also a Kanban board with templates for you to use for your paperwork. There's Kanban board with with step-by-step instructions on how to do certain things, like handle a DOA, which is dead on arrival. You got a dead person. It's not going to be as simple as just slapping an invoice and throwing it out. You're gonna have to do a little bit more work. So all of that you'll find in your Kanban board. Kanban board will be your friend. So keep that in mind and feel free to enjoy exploring them on the live server. And then next patients database, we finally have the insurance database. Now I want to go into the invoices and add a new one, so that everyone's is on the space where they make a new invoice. The only difference there's two differences between invoices and medical reports. First up, in invoices you can add charges. So when you create the invoice, the patient will be charged for treatment. You cannot add those charges onto the medical report. But also the advantage of medical report is that the person who created it can edit it afterwards. Once you make an invoice for now, it's stuck and you cannot edit it. That's why in most cases, when you need to do both for a patient, because for example, they have an extensive surgery, right? And you want to make sure they are charged first. What you can do is create a medical report with nothing in it, because that will create a medical report ID. You can then go back to the invoice, copy the medical report ID in it, charge the patient for whatever you want to charge it, and then go back to your report that you have already created, and then at your own pace, once you're done with actually, dealing with the patient, just fill out the paperwork slowly, so you don't have to rush, because only people who are around can be charged. So for example, if you're done with operation and your patient would like to log off, you have to make sure you charge them before they log off. Or you're gonna be busy and you want to do the paperwork in an hour. That's one way to basically cheat that, so you can do all the important stuff first and then you slowly write it up. Some rules about invoices and reports. Both the title and the body have a minimal character count, which means if your title or notes in the body are too small, you will not be able to create it. So why don't all of you just write up a random title and about a situation that you'll be handling. Doctors, feel free to explain somebody already being brought in a new operation at Eclipse, and TACMET, you can go ahead and write up a title about your arriving. Yep.
Are we in patients or are we on your patient thing now? Are we in patient database?
No, we are in insurance database, invoices, make new, or add new, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, title for the patient, go ahead and add me, Penelope Inc. from the ID you have seen before. As you can see, the doctor/medic field is automatically filled in. If for whatever reason your name is not there, that's because the entity is bugged, and all you have to do is just open a new tab and open up a new invoice. Again, it will be added, because if your name is not in there, you cannot create the invoice and you cannot manually add it. It's supposed to be automatic, so if you ever find yourself unable to make an invoice or report, always check the doctor/medic field. Like 1 out of 1,000 times you create it, the game will just forget to add it, and you'll have to start from scratch, but it's fine. So obviously in the body of the invoice, depending on whatever you're doing, you would write out different things. For TACMET, the important thing to always mention is A, the location of the call, which is where the person got injured. B, what happened to them, or describe their injuries, and C, what you did to them. So that would be either your treatment on scene, transporting them to Eclipse, handing them off to a doctor, treating them yourself. Everything you actually do to the patient has to go in the invoice. So it could be as simple as found patient, in front of mall, brought him to Eclipse to have a doctor treat his bruises. It can be as simple as that, or you can go into details. You can have templates with all the details, etc., etc. For doctors, you'll only be handling patients that are already at Eclipse. So you'll either be handling people who have already been charged by TACMED and only need a medical report, or might not need a medical report at all if the injury isn't major. You don't have to worry about doing paperwork for things that are not important or somebody doesn't ask for it. But if it's a major thing, like, somebody getting kidnapped, or, somebody tries to kill somebody, you should probably make a medical report, because, they might want to pursue that RP, for example, legally, and, having good paperwork, to back that situation up in RP could be very useful. Obviously, as I said, you'll have a Kanban board with templates as to what put in there and all of that, so you'll learn from that. But you will also be just charging patients as well if TACMED is not available, which is what we'll explain now. Below the body is added charges. Everyone go ahead and click on that and take a look at all of them. If you hover over it, it'll explain what the charge does. The first 3 ones are just the insurance charge. You can give someone insurance or make them buy insurance by just adding one of those 3 options in the invoice. That is as simple as, called platinum insurance payment. In the body, platinum insurance payment. You add platinum insurance as the charge and you create it, and that's how people get insurance. Obviously, it's different prices for different tiers that does different things. It's all explained. And then all the actual different fees are below that. First, it's ambulance transport fee. For TACMED, if you're bringing someone from a scene to Eclipse via ambulance, you add this. Field treatment fee. For TACMED, if you arrive on scene and somebody is, saying they just have little boo-boos and they want to be picked up, quote unquote, right? So you use whatever it is at your disposal to either heal them or pick them up on scene, or even if it's purely RP, right? You RP giving them, pain medicine. You don't actually use any equipment. That's still field treatment fee, right? It's when you arrive on scene and you're done with the patient without bringing them to Eclipse. That's field treatment. And obviously, helicopter transport fee, self-explanatory. Instead of using ambulance, you use the helicopter to bring them to Eclipse. Hazard fee. It's very simple. It's whenever you have to put your life or safety, when you have to put yourself in danger in order to save somebody, right? You would not put a hazard fee if you, for example, are arriving, after a shootout and you're picking up the bodies. But if you arrive on scene and there are still active shots fired, or if you arrive on the scene of an explosion and vehicles are still exploding and you have to, rescue a person from those exploding vehicles, or you arrived at a scene where locals are dangerous and you have to fend them off with a gun or even shoot them, right? All of that is considered, you endangering your own life in order to save someone. So that would explain the hazard fee. And that will also need to be very clearly mentioned in the report, why it makes sense, because people could then, then sue them to get that money back. And then the report says, oh, I had people trying to stab me while trying to save patient. That's pretty self-explanatory why that would be hazardous, right? Wheelchair sale. That would be mostly for you doctors, not TACMED, unless there's literally no doctors on duty. When people need a wheelchair, you just need to charge them for a wheelchair, then go ahead and walk back to the armory, buy it personally, and give it to them, hand it to them as an item in-game. Do keep in mind that we don't hand them out willy-nilly. So unless someone has actual, RP reasons and injuries that they need a wheelchair, we don't give it. If somebody just shows up and says, hey, I got a $1,500, I want to buy a wheelchair, no, fuck them. Then surgery fee and general treatment fee. General treatment fee is everyone who gets brought to Eclipse and gets put on a bed. That's basically it. Surgery fee, if someone gets brought to Eclipse and need an actual operation, they need to go to the OR and you gotta do your stuff. That also includes if there's no doctors on duty and only TACMED are around, and they still have to take the patient into the OR to assist the local doctors to do the operation, right? If somebody has fucking bullets stuck in their lungs, or lungs has collapsed, or someone got shot through the heart, right, and actively dying and need the operation, that's when you do the surgery fee. Otherwise, it's always general treatment. Even if you fish out bullets from their chest on the bedside, if you don't need to bring them to the OR, there's no need for the surgery fee. Hospital
Do
violence.
the two compound, or is it just one or the other?
It's one or the other. You will.
Okay.
Because general treatment fee is so small, it would be okay to use both, right? Because you could justify it like, oh yeah, we treated them by the bedside and then they had to go to the OR, right? So it makes sense. You don't have to worry about too much, but it's better to just use one or the other, right? unless it's a specific situation. But again, the general treatment fee is very low, so we will definitely not blame you for using both of them. Something important. Yep.
Is this money that when you charge, that's the money you get in the budget?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is
yes.
the,
This is the
are
money
we
that
getting
would,
ranked?
like
for like salesmen, like if
oh no currently not. We want to have a leaderboard when it comes to how much money people are making and how many invoices they're making. Currently it's not a thing yet, so no, not yet, sadly. All right, hospital violence fee. Can anybody read what it says and guess in what very specific circumstance we would do it?
Someone waves. James Randall comes in and waves a fire axe.
No, but if a James Randall comes into the hospital and whacks a doctor with an axe, that's hospital violence. It is only for when people come into the hospital, which means all of hospital ground, nothing outside. So from garage to roof, they are here and they cause an injury to our staff, or I guess a patient in active care. Why would a patient in active care count? Because it specifies it's only to SAM's personnel. Well, that is
because they come under our protection.
Yes, because as part of SAM's, you yourself have an extension of self-defense law, which extends towards your comrades in arm and patients. That goes for both doctors and TACnet. So if someone comes in here while you're treating a patient and shoots that patient in the head, you are allowed to use self-defense because technically they also shot at your head. So that's why hospital violence makes sense if someone attacks the patients at the hospital, because they are technically under our care, which means we have to defend them, which means they are threatening violence against you as well, because attacking them means attacking you. Pretty self-explanatory, right? And same as hazard fee, if you have to add that, you have to explain that in the invoice very clearly, right? They shot at me. I work here. This is hospital violence, right? So they cannot be like, because we had a situation where Chanel Money started beating someone up, and when they defended themselves and punched her back,
Bring back Chanel.
She's coming back. She's coming back. If it's the last thing I fucking do, I will resign
really?
from this fucking hospital if I cannot bring Chanel back. So yeah, remember to always very clearly.
Wait, what happened to Chanel?
Long
She
story.
did a lot of crime.
Oh,
Find
A lot of
out in
bad
character. Wink.
Oh, okay.
All right. Then prescription fee. Do doctors do that, Brittany?
Yeah, so the doctors, we fill out prescriptions. There's different classes. You can look it up on Google. If you don't, because there's also SOPs. In the SOPs, the different type of drug classes, they actually do specific things when you take them. So if you look in the SOPs, you can actually find out what they do. I don't remember it off by heart.
It's like different types of healing mechanic, right? But
yeah, basically.
So
but you charge when you prescribe someone drugs, you prescribe them you charge them the fee and the prescription sale of the class.
Right, so back to the actual invoice now. Everybody write up a long or short scenario that you think you could come across, and go ahead and add appropriate charges for that scenario. And we will just take a look at all of the invoices real quick and see if anyone made any mistakes and explain what to do differently.
Completed mine.
So for whatever reason, I can't create the.
Yep, as I said, title and body has to be long enough. So if you only put like 1 or 2 words in the title, it might be too long, too short. Also, patient has to be in it. Your doctor/medic field has to be filled in, and there has to be a charge.
Oh, okay, shouldn't do that.
Okay, let's take a look at Tiffany.
Hi.
All right. As TACnet, you forgot to mention where the thing took place, right? As TACnet, you have to mention where the call came from. So that's the only thing you are missing. Charges are very much correct, right? You found the person shot in the street. You brought them to Eclipse, so you got them with general treatment fee and ambulance transport fee. Well, good on that.
Perfect.
You only forgot to mention where the call came from, which is important.
Okay.
Then let's see. A nice. Part to stunk. Weird. Involved the bowel syndrome. Yeah. Yeah. If something like that happens at the hospital, that would be a sort of invoice I would be expecting to see. Yeah. Fair enough. Very much fair enough. Let's see. Dr. Andrew Anderson. Oh my God, you named yourself Dr. Jesus Christ. All right. Enter mail chat. Yeah. Only it would be, it wouldn't be you wouldn't do prescription if it was literally just, a pill for them to take after surgery. It would be for like an actual prescription of, hey, take this for a week or this for a month, right? This how many
Oh, okay,
times?
yep.
Yeah, that's for the actual
Yep.
prescription. If you're just here to give them medicine, that's under general treatment fee, right? If you
Okay.
don't actually have to give them an item that they have to RP out taking, that is just general treatment. Prescription drug sale is
Okay.
for when you actually prescribe them medicine that they do have to take.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, I would give him medicine after that because But yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, I appreciate that. I'll keep that in mind.
Yep.
Give everyone a suppository, like up the ass, period.
Yeah.
And give them comically large suppositories.
Yep. Then we have the next one, Kane. Do not put time in the actual thingamajig, unless it's I'm guessing for ICU, and you make the report far later, because as you can see, the date and time is automatically filled in, right? And it doesn't matter that
Okay.
it took you 10 minutes. Like that much is obvious. But if you're, I don't know, doing a medical report, filling it out, if you're making a medical report for a situation that happened yesterday, then yes, mention that the date is inaccurate. The actual date of the operation is this and this, right? But yeah, if you're doing paperwork on the spot for a situation that just happened, the date is filled in, so you don't have to worry about that. Yep. You don't have to worry about mentioning what TACMET brought them in as well. We would expect TACMET to mention that in an invoice they did themselves if it's important.
Oh, okay.
So you yourself as a doctor don't have to know TACMET call signs by heart. If you do, it's of course plus, but it's not necessary. You can just say that they were brought in by us, and then yep. It's just yep. Ambulance transport fee. Do we have any new ones? Yes, we do.
I literally just took a scenario that Danny went through. That was it.
There arrived at the scene. The hospital patient fell up the stairs. How this patient fell up the stairs?
You were running and then you tripped.
Yeah, but you still fall down. You cannot fall if it's up. You're
No,
rising.
you fall up.
Well, you can't fall up. We'll have a discussion about this. Yep.
He's a clown. He doesn't know what comical. He's using Looney Tunes gravity.
Yep. I noticed.
True.
Yep, correct. Only general treatment. Obviously, if it happened at the hospital, you don't need to bring them, to hospital from hospital, so there would be no transport fee. So all of that is correct. Lick my balls. Yep, all good. Danny. Examination. Come on. Blah blah blah. Yeah, so Danny, you made it a perfect example. So anybody who can go ahead and take a look at invoice 55, tow truck incident. It's a perfect doctor invoice for when TACMET already did some of the job. Because if you notice, there's no transport fee or generic treatment fee, so those two would like 90% of the time TACMET would have already charged them for that. So a patient comes in, already has been charged for transport to the hospital and general treatment, but oh wow, you're a doctor, patient is critical, you need to take them to the OR, and afterwards realize they need a wheelchair. So you can go ahead and either ask someone to invoice them for you, or you can invoice them yourself for the extra surgery that you weren't sure that they were gonna need when they arrived. It happened during wards, and same for wheelchair. So that is very good. You will sometimes encounter that, right? Because as TACMED, we know that a person needs medical assistance. We don't know how extensive, so it's probably, in most cases, if we do invoice them on the ride back, the invoice could be missing some charges, for example, right? If a person goes into OR and they haven't been charged for a operation, you will have to charge them for that yourself. Take a look at Jen Saito.
This is off topic, but who the hell is Jen Saito? Because she's catching strays on me on the MDT.
That's me.
And I feel like what you wrote about me is very offensive.
Ooh.
I don't even know what I'm just so naive, Look, I'm trying to roll with it,
Oh yeah, because you showed your ID before me, so unless they
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah, you
really
were.
abusive.
You kept showing it over and over again.
That's not my fault. Such up a random name. And to use my MDT on live being on 2.
Yep, no worries. You can just put it on the second slot. So.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to.
Yep, no worries.
Cheetos overdose.
It's a very dangerous one, especially when it's the hot Cheetos.
All right.
True. Not the capsaicin.
Very, very narrative heavy. You do good as a lawyer,
sorry
I
about
guess.
that.
No, it's fine. I'm just. It's very comical to read. It still has the information needed. Again, you will go on the live server. You would actually, see proper medical reports done by experienced doctors. You will see all the templates, and you will see what kind of things we're looking for. But yeah, having fun with it like that is entirely acceptable as long as you input all the details that are actually necessary. Oh yeah, in this case, Cheetos overdose would be just general treatment. So I think that's everyone. Go ahead and enter one of them again and take a look at the bottom. As you can see on the bottom left, it says the total, which is the quick calculation of all the fees. Then in the middle, once you create it, it shows up if they have any insurance and shows what kind of insurance they have. And on the right is what the patient actually paid. So in this case, since I was the patient for most of it, my character here has silver insurance, so they only had to pay 50% of medical fees, unless they were charged with a wheelchair, because wheelchairs are you only get a discount, small discount on a wheelchair from having insurance. You don't get it for free, for example, if you have platinum. So yeah, you don't have to worry about things on the left. If people have insurance, they will not be charged. It's all automatic. If they have platinum, the right side will just say paid 0. If people complain, platinum insurance is supposed to be free, it's like, it's just for paperwork. You will not actually be charged for anything that you're not supposed to pay. So yeah, that's basically, you learn how to basically do most things about your job already. The next thing up is going to be, we're actually gonna go through healing mechanics, which for TACMED include the medkits and bandages, and then for everyone the beds. Can everybody guess what a medkit does to you when it's used after you die?
Revives you.
It revives you with a small amount of health,
That
which is highly sought after by criminals.
Yep, that is very accurate. You use a medkit to pick someone up that died in any situation imaginable, but the caveat is they don't have a lot of health left. That's why TACMED has a medkit and a bandage. When you use a bandage on someone, it will not revive them, so they have to be, standing, and it will slowly regenerate their health to full. So if you ever found someone and want to give them a full treatment on the field because they haven't pissed you off, you will use a medkit on them, and then a bandage, to make sure that they are not left with a sliver of health, right? But if it's I don't know, if it's a officer who pissed you off and you're done with them, I don't know, taking everything to the vest after getting shot 50 times, right? You're pissed off at them, they're never taking their injuries seriously. You just use a medkit and leave them without a bandage. They're gonna have to suffer with little health unless they want to, have actual medical RP. I will not blame you for doing that. I sometimes do that to people.
they get charged for the infield treatment, and then they're gonna get charged when they come back here to get treated.
Do cops get like separate
Correct.
insurance?
Cops have reimbursed insurance from their organization. It's all in character. They all have to like individually buy it. No, absolutely not. You make more money than cops. You'll just pay for it.
We make more money than anyone else on the entire server. We can pay for so much stuff.
Do we make money? How much money do we make?
Like
It's like
right now,
1,000
it's
an hour.
It's close to 1,400 an hour by now with inflation. It's like around 1,300 an hour. It's an insane amount.
Yeah.
And
I know
that's
the
we
lowest
love
I've ever made
RP
1,000 an hour.
inflation.
Yep. So no,
I
that's-
can't.
Yep, that's kind of
that's real life hours, right?
Yes. If you're an hour on duty, you get paid over $1,000 when you go ahead and
So
collect
there's
it.
no additionals, right? Anywhere.
No, you don't get any
No.
bonus
I'm
payments.
just,
here.
yeah.
Yep, it's just
Okay,
straight up. You
my
clock on, you start
Yeah.
making money. You clock off, you stop making money. That's all.
Gotcha.
And you have to pick that money up at City
Courthouse,
Hall.
yes. City Hall.
Yeah.
Courthouse.
Question:
Yes.
Are there going to be Christmas bonuses?
No,
Is there a
Aww.
Christmas party though?
possibly
Holiday
not
party.
too whimsical, but
Okay.
maybe we might have a little Christmas party for you. We will see.
Raffles?
There is a scarf that we're required to wear.
Yeah, Takmet has to wear a scarf because I decided so.
Can we wear antlers?
I
as a
can't argue with that.
Antlers are dangerously close to being furry. We will not be allowing them right now until Overseer's green lights it, but I don't think she will. Because it is furry costume. But it does look
Couldn't
good.
you just then dress up as the overseer and countermand it?
That's not how it works. I am not Shadow Overseer
She
for
is
no
the
reason.
overseer.
Yeah, I am the Overseer. What do you talk about? I don't dress like the Overseer. I dress like myself. You'll figure it out once you're on duty.
Mhm.
It's very easy. You just do everything I say, or else.
I could
Oh.
talk before, but do
Or
doctors
else.
have different color uniforms or scrubs?
Yes. As you. No, wait. What was the question again? Sorry, you're quiet. Can you
Sorry.
speak up?
Absolutely. Sorry, I was in a meeting before
Yep.
earlier.
No. I meant
Um,
like in
But
the
I was
range.
listening. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Do doctors wear different color scrubs or uniforms?
You
No,
have access to it.
it's all there's no color coded. You can wear whatever color you want.
Yeah, as long as you have.
Surgeons too, right?
Yes. As long as you have the matching color, right? You have to have top and bottom matching, but you can pick
We
any
can wear
color you
gloves?
want.
You
Yeah,
can't have
yeah.
rainbow
Gloves
colors.
are required for doctors. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Is there a medical mask?
No, we don't have.
I don't believe so,
Wow,
but there is a
I want
surgical
sterile
hat.
environment, you know?
There's a
Well,
surgical
There is a
hat you
surgical
could wear.
hat, yeah.
Honey,
There's
we
not a mask,
smoke in
though.
this hospital. Half of employees smoke
No.
on duty. We smoke
No,
while
I
working
know.
on
You
patients.
Just
You
use
are
a lot of
bound-
saline.
You are
Just-
bound to
iodine.
get cigarette ash
Do
in
ashes in
somebody's
the
open
wound?
wound.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I can see that.
If a patient is being particularly a dick, oh no, you drop your cigarette on them.
That's funny.
All right, so we know how bandages and medkits work, and then we have beds, treatment beds, 95 beds, and OR beds. All do the same thing, which is, well,
For the greater good. Oh.
Get
Right.
down! They're in the trees.
all right, everybody standing. Feel free to pick up a patient and drop them in bed. Remember, drop the patient in bed, not yourself. You don't
Well,
want to go in bed
yeah,
with
you
the
got it.
patient.
Oh,
If you're
I want
wondering
the
stripper.
how to
I
pick
want the
someone
stripper.
up, it's
You
H
should
to
put your
put
hands
up
down.
and down.
Puts them in 95.
If
you
you,
dirty
I would
criminal.
strongly recommend
no.
finding
Yes.
Been a bad boy.
Been a
Yeah,
bad,
you did-
bad
If you're wondering
boy.
how to pick people
That's
up,
the fact
you
that you're
either
in
look
line.
at them, you flex your third eye muscle, you press it, you don't flex it. I'm
Thanks
getting
for having
vomit.
me around, by the way.
You either do that, you can either type,
through and through
carry,
defense, so,
or
you know, it's fine.
Yeah,
no,
you'll be
no
fine, you'll be up
serious,
to-
yeah.
What's
exactly.
the other one?
No
Escort.
random.
Yeah, you can
Alright, good to
escort
go.
or carry. You
Well,
can
I
only
consider him
escort
insurance, otherwise,
people
you know,
who are
drag it on as long
dead
as you want.
or cuffed. You can carry anyone.
Up we get.
It's very useful. If you ever have a big pile of people and there's only one dead, you can just escort randomly and you'll only pick up the dead person. That's very useful for
You okay?
occasions like that.
Shot multiple times. in the
No, okay,
face.
that's good. You don't have
Yep,
insurance.
but now Chloe,
Wow.
She gets it.
Perfect doctor impression right
Yeah,
there.
Chloe will show
absolutely, I'm
you
ready for
something
it.
special about the beds.
Yep.
Because I'll go ahead and pick Chloe up. Fuck off.
But she's gooning.
Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead
okay.
and put Chloe in the bed for me. Why don't you? And she will show you something very special about our beds.
Straight away.
The fact that you could turn around and you don't know how to turn back around again.
All right.
Yeah, and then I can do that.
All right. Basically, as soon as a person gets in the bed, they are instantly revived. It takes a while for them to get, their health back, but it's instant revive. So if it's someone being a dick or it's a criminal, they can just, do low quality RP and pretend like the bed is magic. And as soon as they are put in it, they get up, pull out their gun, and
Pew, pew, pew,
shoot
pew,
you in the
pew.
head. That's why we don't usually put people who are, violent or we don't know how we feel about them in the bed before IDing them, because that would, mean that they can attack you, put you down, and escape without any trail, right? If they're invoiced first, then we can look back at invoices and be like, oh yeah, this person was invoiced, and then we have a doctor shot, and we have nobody on treatment for. I wonder what happened.
How often do you see crime happen on the floor?
Daily.
All the time.
Okay.
Multiple
It's not-
times
it's
a
not
day.
too much.
Upstairs, receptionist, I got shot in the face.
It's
Are we
It's-
not allowed to, defend
you are,
ourselves?
yeah, you are. You just don't
With
have
a regular gun?
Yeah, just use your
Okay.
personal firearm.
I'm pretty sure we were advised to have a personal firearm.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's a good idea.
The SOPs at the very front page, it says personal weapons required.
Yeah.
It was
Where-
made because
I
back in
don't
the
know.
day we didn't have class 3s, so all of TACMED had to have their own guns. So that's why it's required. I'm pretty sure doctors would still be hired if they said, I don't want to have a gun. But yeah. We would probably in character prefer it if you do. OOC,
It's just
there's
advice if
nothing.
you see the type of
Yeah,
people that come to the
OOC, there's
hospital.
there's no reason that you need to have it. But in character, people will probably not like it if you're working here without a gun, because as I said, it does get violent sometimes. It doesn't
Where
get.
is the SOPs? I apologize.
No, I will link
I'll
it.
tag you in them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, that's why we don't just drop people in the bed that we don't know how we feel about them. We first, ID them, invoice them, whatever, so that we know what we're dealing with. Because some people can just, use the bed as a, magical mechanic, or get up and run off. If there's ever a chance where somebody runs in, jumps in the bed, and runs out without saying a word, if there's ever a situation where a criminal, gets carried in, gets dumped in the bed, and runs off, if there's ever a situation where somebody gets dumped in, you walk up to them, you try to interact, they don't respond, they get up and leave, or they attack you. That's all grounds for reporting for low quality RP, and we would expect that you would do so at every single situation. You will not encounter this often, but you will, and it is important to report them in that occasion, because they deserve to learn how to be, how to RP correctly. So you don't have to worry, they won't be banned on spot or anything like that. The most that will happen is they will, they'll explain what happened and be told what they did wrong, and they will learn from that. So never be afraid to report someone who does that, right? They deserve to know what's wrong. Yes, question.
What's the IC protocol if somebody's trying to use a fake ID to get out of paying?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah, basically, we're in a bit of a shithole because we don't have a legal reason to force people to identify themselves other than refusing treatment. But
A fun fact, because I was actually discussing this IC on my lawyer, and I talked to a judge. Yeah, SAMS does not have a constitution or a legal requirement to treat people. You can just tell them no.
Yeah, so we would refuse treatment, but the issue is they just get carried in, dropped on bed, and boom, they're treated, right?
Yeah.
So in most cases, you will be
What if-
then just dealt with someone complaining on the bed, refusing to give you the thing, which then
So-
police won't give a shit about because, quote unquote, they're not committing a crime, so they have no reason to actually, collect evidence off of them. So they won't just come in and fingerprint them or force them to show an ID because it's not necessary. Patients don't have the legal obligation to show us their identity. So in most cases, we will push it in character with threats until they are being so obnoxious that we just let it go, and they get off with free treatment. Fuck them, whatever. We won't worry too much about it, right? We won't spend 2 hours trying to beg someone to show us their ID for like $200. We'll just move on to the next patient. But we'll just, we might, need to call the ID because you're not identifying yourself, blah, blah, blah. That's usually like the final straw, because they would rather show you their ID or tell you their name real instead of having to interact with police. So that's a good thing. But yeah, at the end of the day, if someone's being really obnoxious and stubborn, there's nothing we can legally yet do. There are things in the works, but for now, all you can do is just try your best. Sometimes your best will not be enough, and that's okay.
Yeah, with how the governor's putting fucking amendments in right now, you could probably give him one phone call, it'd be in by the afternoon.
Yeah, probably. I mean, look, Graves.
If you're TACMed and you've seen somebody who's given a fake name come through like with an ambulance ride several times and still hasn't gotten given us an ID or anything, feel free to just drop them on the side of the road also and be like, all right, well, if you don't want to give us your ID, then you can stay here and find your own way to the hospital.
If people don't identify yourself, so you don't have to give them treatment. Absolutely not. And they can try suing you and they will lose. So there you go.
So, should we be getting, like, especially if TACMed's picking them up, should we be getting
to a person with arm up? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yep.
This is a in-character question, but like, let's say that someone just jumps off the bed, and Terry, is it like, how bad would it be if Terry just pulled out his gun, shot him in the leg, and went, "Oh, you fell. You shouldn't get out of bed without treatment."
If you were caught doing so, you'd probably be fired. We don't encourage that in character.
No. Yeah. But
So,
humor.
I mean, look, I've murdered people in this fucking hospital. Like, you can get away with stuff, but like, if we catch you, you'll probably get fired.
Okay,
Just gotta be smart about it.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. Yep, your turn.
Yeah, I was just wondering, with TACMed, can we, is there a way to get them to actually just show their ID before they, I guess they can't because they're down, can they?
Yes, they can. If an
So it's
ID
not-
is in their pocket and not in their wallet, they can just not slash ID. You don't actually have to use slash to use commands on this server. So just type in ID, and that'll show the first ID available in your normal pocket. The issue is some people have it in the wallet, which means it won't work. But even if they're dead, they can just do that. Or, if they don't know how to do that, TACMed will usually on the scene just go into their pockets and pull it out and check it for them. Unless they know who it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a way to do that. And if it's not possible and they are in bed, being in bed means they are revived. So if they're role-playing injuries correctly, you can still ask them to actually show it off. And they can, go into their pockets, open wallet, pull it out and show it to you.
Yeah, I was only asking that because we just to refuse service to pick them up and bring them here if they actually don't show ID.
Yep.
Start off with.
We do that. Yep. In case it's busy, a patient will be identified before they brought to Eclipse. Another question.
I actually saw the answer when I read the SOPs. Never mind. Good.
Oh, gotcha.
So I guess you call it ICE. Is that emergency?
Yes.
In case of
Contact.
emergency.
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha.
Yep. They got a lot of power.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure that they can know about what's going on.
Right.
With the patient
I'm gonna
for
move
HIPAA
to,
wise.
I guess I'm not gonna move to 95 training because doctors still need to know how to do it. 95s. First up, TACMed. We arrive on scene that has been requested by police. Right. We have a person being arrested, and they have been shot down. What do you think would be the first question we ask the officer when we arrive on a scene like that? Harry.
Is it a 95?
Yep. What is the second question we would ask? We know now if it's a criminal or not. What do we know next? What is the only thing we care about now that we know it's a criminal?
Is it a dangerous?
Are they a 95?
Nope. We already asked
platinum.
that. Next question.
Oh,
are they cuffed? Because we will not bring them to Eclipse before they are cuffed, because that means they could just get up and shoot us up because they've probably not been searched either. So, important thing. Is this a 95? Yes. Are they cuffed? Yes or no? In most cases, they will not be because police hates doing their job. So we have to make sure for that because we care about us and we don't want to get shot up by criminals. So, is this a 95? Are they cuffed? And third question, Terry, can you guess?
Are they dangerous?
Nope. Police officer, do you have insurance? Would you like to extend your insurance with us today? Dead serious. We
This
pushed
is
that
the perfect
insurance
time.
RP real hard.
Oh, police officer, you don't have insurance? Okay, I'm gonna treat the criminal that shot you first.
Absolutely.
Because they do have insurance.
Absolutely. Think about it this way. We have to prioritize saving the life of a police officer, you know, over anyone else. But after they're not actively dying, if the criminal has platinum insurance and the police officer doesn't have platinum insurance, well, the police officer can go fuck themselves. They're not dying. We're gonna
Basically,
pamper that criminal with fucking champagne while the police officer just sits in the back. It's just, you know,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
Basically, just stabilize everybody and then just choose who has the biggest insurance.
Yep. If we have, we ever arrived on scene, there's like, you know, 2 friends and one of them has platinum. The other one will regret not having platinum during that ride back to the hospital and stay in hospital. We will make him fucking regret it by both
Didn't you
treating
take
him
a-
worse and treating his patient better.
Yeah, I make
Didn't
fun
you
of the
take a
police
guy
that
who didn't have insurance on like a road trip to collect pay slips?
Well,
and
he
then
was he was a
restaurant?
dick because there were 2 people. I came in alone, and he was complaining about being picked up as well. But you know, we only carry 1 medkit, so I was like, well, I can only pick up 1, and one of you has platinum insurance, so I'm gonna pick you up, and the other one will have to come.
Oh no, I'm talking about the
room for
tow truck
95s?
driver with you and Brittany.
Oh yeah, he didn't have insurance, so he had to sit through like 20 minutes of us just driving around town. That was-
Doing errands.
Yeah. He was not dying. All right, so
There you go.
we got a
If-
95.
If you have
Go ahead.
if you have backup, you can also just take the platinum insurance holder alone. That happened a couple times with Wakata.
Again, you'll
Literally.
find a lot of ways to have fun with it. We push that.
Make them
we
regret
push
not
that-
having
Yeah, we push that
insurance.
RP hard. We wanna make sure that people who have platinum insurance feel special and those who don't feel bad. Go ahead. Question.
Yeah, do we have a 95 room for platinum members as well?
We do not yet, but we will. It's in the works.
Excellent.
Yep. The issue is that most police officers and most criminals who get shut off pretty often are platinum insurance because they're smart and they want to save money. So they just get platinum insurance. So it's
I mean, I personally just put them in the room with a view, and then the ones that are
Yeah.
not platinum, they go in the room without a view.
Yep. That's why these are platinum insurance because they have windows, etc. Question.
Get Terry.
I guess just like a bit off of what we were talking about. Has there ever been like a doctor that's been TACMed or vice versa? Like, have they moved positions? Is that common for people?
It's not
Hi,
common.
guys.
It has happened. This is one of them.
Hi, I'm
yeah.
a doctor.
She was a doctor, now she
Oh.
wants to be TACMed. It's not cross-training. You cannot be both. You can change departments, and you'll have, you know, you'll skip the
That's
need
up
to
on the bottom.
apply, but you'll still start as a new hire at a different spot, and you will not be able to just, you know, switch back on a whim. It'll be like actual changing of a job, right? You can lose your job in one place and start another. You will not be able to be both, right? I'm gonna be TACMed today, and tomorrow I'm gonna be doctor, right? Or it's slow, I'm gonna be TACMed. Oh, it's busy, I'm gonna become a doctor.
Right. I meant more like if, say, like in character doesn't feel like being the doctor works. Could they?
Absolutely, it is possible to transfer from a department to a department. We might deny you the same way, you know. We'll just say, oh, we're not hiring any more people because we already have, you know, all the ambulances are taken. There's no space for us to pick up more initiates, so we'll just say, nah, you can wait. But yeah, you can absolutely apply to change departments. It'll just be easier than having to apply from scratch. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so like if I'm trained as a receptionist and I just felt like I was in more of a receptionist mood, could I just work as a receptionist?
What does that mean?
Like, if I
I
didn't
think
want
she
to.
means if she doesn't want to
if
be
you're
a
a
doctor one
doctor,
day.
Like, no, I mean, if I didn't want to work as a doctor, like, one day, could I just, like, play as a receptionist? Or would I have to, like...
No, you would have to
Or would I
demote
not be
yourself.
allowed to do that?
Yeah, you would be,
Ah,
hey,
okay.
I want to be a receptionist. I want to lose my job as a doctor, and then you would become a receptionist. You would not be able to, hey, I
Okay.
don't want to be a doctor today. Let me just work reception. No, that would not.
But-
That's the
but-
same way as we don't allow, doctors and TACMED
Just
to be
to-
the same person. Yep.
When there's no receptionist, you'll be doing the receptionist answering phone calls anyway.
Yeah. But if there's
Yeah.
like multiple doctors on, like let's say 3 or 4 doctors on at once, would she still couldn't do that?
Yeah, I'm talking about like the actual position of receptionist, right? You can
Oh.
just hand the surgery to someone else. You can just answer a dispatch call, or just do an invoice of somebody who's showing
okay.
up. But you cannot be a doctor and say, hey, I'm not going to do any doctor work today. I'm just gonna work reception. You see what I'm saying, right? Because that's like a different
Yeah.
position, right? If you want to only do reception, you have to be reception. If you want to do doctor
okay,
stuff, you
yeah.
have to be a doctor. And if you decide that doctor stuff is too much and you only like reception, you have to just, lose the doctor position and become a reception. Then you'll be able to just do reception all the time. It's strict, but it's that way for a reason, because we are a dictatorship run by a big scary Russian woman. Totally not Russian. She's from Commonwealth of Virginia.
Slovakia.
Go ahead.
Is the pay different for receptionists and doctors?
I don't know. Is it?
I think it'll
so.
come down to
But
EMS.
very, very
Yeah, I think
minorly.
it's like $100 or $200 difference. You're basically making more than police anyway, regardless of your position. So you don't have to worry about that too much. You'll be making bank here anyway.
The only big pay gap would be a pay jump would be from scrub to attending, but you'd have to go through resident first.
Yeah, but that's the difference between being doctor and being in command. That's a big jump. That's not something you would get in a week. It's like a difference between the first day on the job and second month on the job. So that's obvious. There's going to be a little bit of a difference there. But no, receptionist and doctor, similar pay. All right. Going back to the 95s, TACMED knows how to handle them on scene. We bring them here. We put them in a room. We lock the room behind, and as doctors, you are more than welcome to not treat a 95 if you feel like they're dangerous. You can RP as being, quote unquote, scared, and have the local doctors. I don't like calling them locals, but everyone else does. So I'm starting to do it as well. You can have the local doctors work on them. You don't have to personally do it, but you're more than welcome to enter that room. If a 95 escapes on you, it's not your fucking fault. PD can try to fucking arrest you, and they'll lose in court. They can go fuck themselves. We have the ability to detain people. We do not have the obligation to detain people. Which also goes for the fact that if we have a 95, the police officers are supposed to, well, in ideal world, they would get in a fucking ambulance with us because we're transporting a fucking criminal, right? But they don't care about that. They all riding single badge. There's a single person in a car, so they will always, follow you, and they will probably be late. So how we deal with that is if we have a patient here in the 95 room and they have already been treated, we've done the invoice, we've done the treatment, they're just sitting there waiting to be picked up by police. And police is not here to pick them up. We go on the police radio and say, hey, you forgot a 95. You got a 5-minute timer until we unlock these fucking doors, and the 95 can just fucking leave because this is a hospital, not a hotel. And the police can complain all about that, but you have all the rights to just, give them 5 minutes to gather their shit, come pick their 95 up, and leave. And if they do not do that after a verbal warning of, taking too much time, you are more than welcome to actually unlock these doors and let the 95 leave. Because we want the people to get roleplay. And if PD wants to leave people without roleplay, they can do it at their place at, police station. They could just lock them in a cell and leave them alone for hours.
Died.
But if you do it, if they want to do it here, nah. If they take more than 5 minutes to pick them up, they'll...
do.
Yep, go ahead.
What's your question?
I don't want to rush anybody, but how long exactly more is this going to
Yeah,
take? Because
Lester, I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I really do need to go to sleep
Same.
soon as well. I can get the doctors wrapped up right about now.
Yep, it's
honestly.
yeah, that
I'm
was
only
think
asking
Nico's done a
the
really
last
good
thing before
Yeah.
before like
Yeah.
actual scene treatment, which is only for TACMED. So
Yeah,
you
Nico's done a great job of explaining everything today. I can get you guys wrapped up now. The last thing that's really on the list is if anyone ever tries to serve you any papers or lawsuits, tell them to fuck off and go to the but other than that, doctors, you're done. Do you guys have any questions for me?
No, thank you
No.
so much.
Of
No, I
course.
don't know if you
Before
have
you
any-
guys all F8 quit, can I please
Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
please get all your character names so I can check you all off for
Sure.
cliff
Jen
duty.
said it.
Ooh, I'll post your
Yeah, no,
character
my
name in the Discord. In the what channel? The same channel will let you know how to sign.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yep.
Post it in there so I can
Everyone
clear you all
who's
for
here,
duty.
post your name.
Whenever you're next on the server, I'll be around for like 30 minutes in case some of you want to come. And I'll hand you out your gear, and you can start as a scrub. Everyone say
Awesome.
thank you, everyone. I know, I'm sorry.
Everybody
Thank
come over
you,
here. We're
everyone.
gonna
Thank
do a
you guys
class
for coming.
picture.
Everyone say thank you, Nico. Everyone
Thank
say
you, guys.
thank you.
Thank
I
you.
Thank you, Nico.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Nico.
It's a
We
shit
got
great
doors!
bad.
Everybody, come over here. Class picture. Class picture.
Goodbye, everyone.
We can't even
Oh,
save
blood
it.
everywhere.
Oh.
Yeah, you
You can
can.
take a screenshot.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can
true.
copy
Didn't even
URL.
think
Share-
about
Yeah, copy
X.
URL
that. This is
exists.
true.
Yeah, you can also upload it into
And it's
the
almost
actual
like I'm just
game.
going to use the spectator camera and then you share X with a Kappa link.
Oh.
Nico, you're hiding my mustache.
Cry about it.
Terry,
the
Just
direct-
move.
Terry,
Just
what are you doing?
move. Just move. It is not complicated. Just move your camera to take better picture. You want me to not be in front? You're in the wrong place. I will be in front.
Too Russian.
I'm just trying to get everybody without them being obstructed.
Just go up.
Yeah, no, you went
Smart,
up. That's for
harder.
sure.
Get down.
Did you
You
get it
made me
yet?
feel bad. If you waited literally 30 seconds with that question, I would let you know that was all the training and that was it. Ah!
There you go, I'm posting it on the thing for now so everybody can grab a copy.
Yeah.
I'm the only person on the purple pages here first.
But I was
Eat
just a
good.
son. Maybe. It's EA. Instead of emote, it's emote anyway.
Aw, Maddie.
You get to use the emote.
There you
because-
go, it's on Life Invader. If everybody wants to grab a URL.
I'm not making an account. Fuck it.
I'm gonna go back to the main
Neither am I.
server now before Callum goes crazy.
What's wrong with Callum? What's happening?
Yeah,
He's Scottish.
he's like, please tell me it's ending soon. I think he wants to go to sleep.
Oh,
Oh,
my God.
wait.
Then go to sleep, Jesus Christ, Callum, you idiot.
I know, it's serious.
Yeah, go yell at him. Go yell at him.
I'm gonna go
Nico,
yell. Oh,
did
I'm
you do
so
the
sorry.
warning
Ow,
to
bitch.
everybody that they might get shot by Callum a lot?
You will not get shot
Oh,
by
I'm
Callum a
so,
lot.
God
You will-
damn it! I'm trying to click on the thing. Hold on.
I have misspelled his name for a month now. I don't think he likes me.
Click
Oh,
it.
do we have a
Guys are
certain?
picking you up.
Do we have a
Yeah.
certain amount of hours we have to do?
Nope. Nope. You will just
Okay, cool.
if you're extremely if you're on LOA, you will be
too.
put on LOA. If you're inactive when you're not on LOA, after a while you'll be fired, and then you can just come back in and be like, "Hey, I was busy," and you'll be rehired.
So you mean it's not a big deal to do other
Don't be
things
on
in
my
the city
boss.
besides dedicating your life to one profession?
Absolutely
Not
not.
that I've
We
done
You
it
have to
before, but
dedicate-
100, you
have
know.
absolutely 0 hour requirement.
Oh, that's amazing.
All right, good luck, everyone. I'm gonna go back to
I was
40
pulling
hours a
40
week.
hours as a
Fun.
commissioner.
40 hours.
Okay,
when?
so
like weekly?
I'm getting tag teamed.
Yeah, you gotta do 40 hours a
Yeah,
week.
40.
No,
No, I did 40 hours as a commissioner.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm pulling.
Another city.
pulling
I'm
like-
so happy to hear.
I'm pulling like 16 hours here daily.
No, but That's my worry,
So-
because I'm like also a lawyer and I work
16 hours daily. Goodbye sleep. Hello heart attack.
What this? That's funny. I just drank an energy drink and I'm not supposed to drink them because.
I have a question,
I'm
Nico.
gonna get you, I swear to God.
So originally I was trying to apply to be EMT like 2 months ago.
Yep.
And I have no idea who did my my interview, but they told me I couldn't have felonies, and then I don't have any. Haven't had any.
Callum.
Yep, that's fine.
No, it
wasn't
wasn't. But I was wondering if there was a way I could like go through tech med training. If you
Okay, thank you.
like,
Yeah.
are you hiring any extra spots?
Because
that was the main thing I was trying to do.
2 TACMED here, right? We have 2 TACMED.
Your mistake was wearing the
Yeah.
doctor uniform. You should just put a TACMED uniform on. They would have never noticed.
Like you,
I should've, but, like-
you
Or
already
you
went through TACMED training. Only thing that's left for TACMED is like, doing a little bit of scene training that we can do since we're on a dev server, so we can have some OC knowledge to help with that. But you already technically did. So if you do want to work as TACMED, right now I'll check how many ambulances we have left and see if I can squeeze you in or not. I don't think so.
If you can, that would be awesome. If not, not a
Because
big.
you would like to work as TACMED, not doctor.
Yes.
Alright.
Oh,
I've been trying to for like months now, and I've been
That's-
persistent
I
about
have
it.
no fucking idea who you spoke with. But if it's been for months, you probably spoke with a person that's both fired from Sam's and also banned on the server.
Was it John
so-
Stems?
She's not banned, I can tell you that much, but she's not working
She?
with Sam's anymore.
Oh yeah, then definitely then
Oh,
definitely.
yeah, okay, we
yeah,
know
it's
that
it's a,
is.
a completely different department now. Like everyone got fired.
Well-
if you got it 2 months ago, then basically you didn't apply for TACMED. You applied for a thing that doesn't exist anymore.
EMS.
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
That is fair. Okay.
I'm honestly so looking forward to all the RP as a clown TACMED.
I'm
gonna
looking
be
forward
so-
to seeing that. I was the only one pushing
Yeah.
to hire you. Everyone was like, "No, fuck, it's a clown." No, I was like, "We hired a furry. We're gonna give a clown a try, and we're gonna laugh when we can fire them, and it's gonna be fun."
I mean, clowns in hospitals not an abnormal thing, right? Like Patch Adams.
Right, I was just thinking about that. Patch
So
Adams.
yeah,
Oh, I'm
That's a
I'm
true
scared
story.
because the
he
clowns
could be
at
a
the moment are
previous
absolutely
pediatric
just-
doctor. You know.
I think the clowns are going insane on live right now because I'm pretty sure their rights have just been
Fuck
Oh.
them.
revoked.
Yeah.
Ah. Alright.
Well,
You're a good
well,
clown.
since I'm a legal clown, so they're having a problem with me because a mime stole my bike yesterday, and they went and they killed that mime. And I was like, and they were like, "Well, you can't really do the same for us." And I was like, I didn't even ask you guys for, the mime just took my bike. Because Terry doesn't really care about his earthly possessions. Or anything. So he'll just go, and then go pick up something else.
His earthly possessions. You make it sound like he's an ephemeral being.
Yeah, of course he is.
I love it. Yeah. You know what? No, fair enough. That's on me.
Actually, I have a question. If we get the clowns in, can we lock them in the storage room and like just leave them there?
That would be fun.
It matters if they have insurance or not.
Yeah,
Do they have insurance though?
If they don't have insurance, can we just
Yeah,
lock
then
them in there and
yeah,
just
I
leave
don't
them?
see why not. No
Well,
insurance means
Most
Unlawful imprisonment.
most clowns.
Yeah.
No. Look, it might be deprivation of liberty, but it's a clown. They don't have rights.
They
He has no insurance.
Oh god.
Don't forget the insurance.
No, their rights are getting revoked. So
You have
Well,
yeah,
they
but
got
you
revoked.
you
They
only
are
have a
getting
couple
they,
hours.
they still have
Yeah.
human rights, I suppose.
Do they though?
Without
really?
insurance?
Loosely.
Well, you could just say to a clown, "Go in there," and the clown will most likely do it because they're good at following orders.
yeah,
you just say-
I'm not going to disregard their rights. I'm just going to disrespect them.
Sorry.
What's your
Yeah.
character's name?
Danny Ehrlich. ERLSE.
I can't believe you're leaving us, Denny. Jeez.
It's not even a guarantee that I'm leaving
All right.
unless
we
she
can
says
squeeze
there's
you
a
in.
spot for tech.
We can squeeze you.
All right. Well, sorry
Hey,
guys.
congrats.
because we have one person on an LOA, but the issue is they haven't put in the LOA and they're busy with school, so that's gonna take however fuck knows how long.
Oh.
So we're just gonna remove them for inactivity, and that frees up the slot. And we're just pushed to get.
Hell yeah.
ambulances.
I like the person.
Well, I couldn't find any. Everyone else is like either active or on or an LOA. So we cannot remove them. We already got rid of everyone inactive, and we filled out all the spots, and it still could be a bit too much. So we're gonna do this one thing, so that'll leave us with 3 ambulances available. The only issue is we still have some initiates that haven't gotten through the training, so it might end up with you unable to get an ambulance anyway. But I will allow you to work as an initiate, especially since your character is a normal person and we just hired a clown. So I think I'll get the
How much lower can you get?
I feel like I'm
fuck off to armory and change your outfit.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
If anyone of doctors wants to say,
Go
you
to
can
bed.
feel free.
Look, guys.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh, we can't go on duty
without Terry.
live anyway, so.
Well, no, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah. I mean,
You
Tactical
can,
Command
it's
will give
just-
you all the stuff
yeah.
as well.
When I did doctor re-education, I stayed because I just thought it was interesting to know.
What floor?
Okay,
are
well,
we
I might
going to?
We're
go
going to
live
the
and
first
try and
floor. Come on. Ah,
do some work.
first floor. Doctor. Yeah, there you go.
Get you some bandages.
I want you to
some
dress up.
medkits.
Oh, you want me to dress up?
You need the TechMed vest.
Well, oh wait,
the
no,
hose-
you-
the
you
belt,
do
No,
and
it's
the
not me.
pants, and the
fucking
GPS
say,
watch.
what the fuck?
And then
It's
the
my
helmet
twin
and
brother,
the
Denny.
gator.
I just met him today.
That usually happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one's the initiative? That's the very first one.
I thought it was the
right?
same person
No,
doing
the very
voice.
first one doesn't have a rank. You're looking at the one.
I thought he was doing a
Single V.
voice.
That's the initial.
No,
Single V. Okay.
Yep. The one without any rank is void.
So that
There you go.
one-
Beautiful. Yep. You can go
Wait, you
ahead.
know what? I'm just gonna put a tac
Um,
med
For
uniform on.
pants,
to
any are
confuse
good. Even
people.
the TACMED ones at the very bottom.
I'd just recommend getting the TechMed pants. They already come with boots.
Oh, perfect.
Simple.
That makes that a
The
lot
taco
easier.
pants are sick. Don't even bother wearing the other ones.
And then
Well, I don't
vest.
I like the ones with the scissors attached to them, but I just think.
Then you need a
both
cap.
have-
You need the
both
little
have
hat.
scissors.
Oh yeah, this one. There's like a plain pair. isn't there?
Oh, that's what I was missing. The cap. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
Get
like
a
cap
helmet and a gator or whatever,
Nope.
but you can only put that on.
Nope.
Yep.
Oh, they
yep.
changed
can't
that
get a
again?
gator,
Well,
yeah.
well, yeah. You don't get it. Why would you get it? You're only technically allowed to wear it once you're past initiate anyway. So
Oh, I was told. So it's been changed like so many times
it
when I was
was
an
not
initiate, it was
changed.
like-
Some people just didn't follow the rules.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way. Yeah, the top you're wearing, not for initiates. The mask, the gator, not for initiates. Initiates get a cap and that's it, because they need to be easily recognizable as initiates. So we know you're a
Oh,
newbie.
so I
and you
don't have the vest.
No, you do get the vest. I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Things covering your face, right? The helmet.
I just realized my
mask,
god,
Gotcha.
the TACMED shirt that you see, it doesn't have a rank. That's why you're not allowed to wear it, because we need to know that you're an initiate. You know, once you're an operator, you don't need to show off your rank, because you're skilled enough to be a full employee. So we don't have to worry about what rank you are. But when you're initiate, you have to make it very clear by wearing the dress shirt only and the cap.
Okay, that makes more sense. I'm just trying to make sure that I've got everything going through SOP.
So don't expect the next part to be too fun. I'll mess with you a little bit, but basically what we're gonna do is
This is the best bit.
yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
Okay.
We're gonna go out
Ooh,
and go on
earpiece.
some
Oh,
pretend
that's good.
scene. Yep. For all the additions, go ahead and have fun. You can also get the flashlight for the gun, or just get the flashlight for the gun. There's no reason not to have it. If you don't know how to put it on, you drag the flashlight onto a gun once you buy it. That's how you install it.
Yep.
Are we doing blood kits and fingerprint, or is that?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Oh,
We have
okay,
no
I'm
use
just
for
gonna apply for
anything
my
like
Sam's
that.
recruit tag.
Well, we're gonna have a couple of med kits on us and bandages,
Nope.
right?
Single medkit and a single bandage. All of you will read through SOPs and that very clearly states that only a single medkit and a bandage is allowed on a personnel at a time. It's very strict.
And if you use them, remember to put it in the invoice so you have an excuse to get another one if there's
yep.
like, no one around.
Yep. You will name the invoice field treatment, so that's very easy to notice. You will also charge for field treatment, and you will come back to the Eclipse and you will buy whatever you used for that field treatment back, so that when we do an audit, we see, Terry used Terry bought a medkit. Why would Terry buy a medkit? Let me go ahead and look up at the invoices around that date. Oh, Terry did a field treatment. All right, Terry is not getting fired. Good. Now, if I see Terry buying 5 medkits at a short succession, and I go to invoices and I don't see, 5 invoices for field treatment with patients being charged, Terry is getting fucked real hard.
What happens if he's into
Go
pegging?
ahead.
Well,
Are you sure
shove it
about
up
that?
there. I've taken bigger things. Oh, that sounds.
The flag.
Yeah, that might be a bit too big.
Terry's been in prison.
All right,
on
anyone
another
hungry?
server,
We don't do surgery here.
Right, I'll drop.
I found out just doing /heal feeds me.
I just
go.
brought.
Yeah.
I dropped food on here with drinks included, so all of you tagmen can go ahead and grab it if you need it, so you can actually run and exist.
I got tomato soup.
Right, I'll leave you guys to it. I'm gonna head off.
Yeah. have fun.
Ciao.
have fun.
Bye.
Bye. I wanted to shoot him so bad. I was like,
God, Kaelin Hathor, you are ugly. You're also my mom, so I don't know how I feel about it. That's so weird that I play Kaelin's Hathor daughter and Marionette at Sam's. It feels so weird to be on both sides of the coin and like hating Takmet so much, but also loving Takmet at the same time on different characters. It's so fucking confusing, and I love it.
okay, so 60 bullets.
90. You can load
Yeah,
your gun.
but
to
60
90, 30 in the mag, 60 out.
Yep. Here you can obviously get more. We're just having fun. On the live server, you want to get more bullets? Just go in ammunition and buy 9mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can carry as much personal ammo on you as you want.
But what about like tire repair kits and fire extinguishers?
None of them.
Don't need them.
Oh fuck, we forgot about the repair function. Yeah. Fire extinguishers you will find in the well, it's good because it's mostly for Takmet, so you'll all learn it. Things like fire extinguishers, your vest, cleaning kits, they all have durability, which goes down with use. Cleaning kits break if you use all of its durability, so it's important to always come here and refill it by repairing it. Fire extinguishers and vests do not break if their durability goes to 0. They just stop working, so you don't have to worry about losing, an item. They will stay. It'll just be unusable. So whenever you need to do that, you come back here and you select option repair equipment. That will repair your vest and fill up your fire extinguisher and cleaning kit. You'll probably not buy fire extinguishers too often because we should have some in storage. The basic rule is we want at least one person with a fire extinguisher per tag team. So it'll probably end up with most of you eventually carrying a fire extinguisher on you that you can use, in case you come across a fire. Same with cleaning kit. We should have some in storage, because people shouldn't have them on them at all times.
Yeah, I didn't get my first fire extinguisher until somebody set the IC room on fire.
Yep. There you go. But in most time, there's going to be at least one person in a team who already has a fire extinguisher. And as I said,
I have a character. Was that Bunny? Was that Bunny that did that?
I was nowhere to be found, I think.
Okay, somebody said it was Bunny, and I was like, the fuck?
Oh, Bunny would never do that. Bunny is an innocent little boy. He would never do something like that. He shoots people in the head in the hospital. He wouldn't set it on fire.
That caught me off guard.
I fucking love Bunny.
I just wanted to ask for clarification's sake. When we're clocking out, everything goes in the locker or in storage?
Locker.
Which one?
Storage is your
Locker.
things you are no
to go
longer
to sleep.
using. For example, you get a promotion, so you have no use for your initiate shirt. You put it away, right? You want to change pants, so you get an extra pair of pants from storage and pull pull the old ones back in so someone else can wear the ones you don't want, right? If you have your actual stuff, you put it in the locker, right? That's when you go off duty.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Locker is for your actual stuff, right?
Right. Makes sense.
Bunny. Yeah, sure. Who's that? Oh, he's just standing there menacingly on the corner of Milton Road.
Who? Where?
Benja.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. What are we missing? I don't think we're missing anyone. Let's get out before I fall asleep.
Okay.
Everybody is on
Oh,
radio
you need
channel
to jump,
1.
by the way.
No.
Radio check.
I heard that.
10-2.
All right. Heard
Oh,
that.
it feels so good.
Oh,
Feels so good.
That's such a pretty weather. What the fuck?
Nice.
Yeah,
Is this a blizzard? Ooh.
I don't know what it is.
No, it's not
I
a
don't
blizzard,
see. I don't see snow.
I see snow.
Oh,
What
for
the
me,
fuck?
I just see
I
a
don't see snow. I hate my shaders. Ah.
No.
I see
no,
a lot of fog
Yeah, fog. I like it. It's like a sandstorm.
and a lot of snow.
Not
No,
a
it's
blizzard,
it's
it's a
it's
sandstorm.
snow with like.
There's no
It's
snow.
Oh, snowdrift.
There's no
with
snow.
like white.
There's no
is.
snow.
Oh, I see
You're
a
all
lot of
schizo.
snow.
But there's no snow.
Danny
on the
is
ground.
canonically schizo.
Jesus
so-
Christ! Yesterday I had to. Was it yesterday or earlier today? I had to respond to someone complaining about gods not taking care of the city properly and there being no crime available, and I'm like, kill me, fucking kill me. Ugh. I love schizo. All right.
Schizo's fun when it's done right.
Oh, that was a.
Yeah,
good,
actual
nice, big
schizo
one.
is good. When you call players schizo because they're blatantly talking OC stuff, it's not that fun. But I'm still gonna call it
See,
out because
Danny
I'm
likes
not
to run
breaking
from-
character. All right, everyone see this ambulance?
Yes.
Yeah.
The basic idea is 3 of you get an ambulance because at PacMed you always roll in a team of 3 unless there's not enough people around, which in most cases there will be. We always triple batch, so we have a driver, we have 2 passengers, so that you all can share tasks. Usually, it's person that's driving, second one the passenger who does the call-outs, and then third one who does the paperwork. In a perfect world. It's not a perfect world. It'll probably not be like that, but it is what it is. So I want you 3 to get in an ambulance because you have a patient to respond to. I'm fucking falling asleep. Basically,
Okay, well,
I-
this ambulance is super broken as well, and I'm stuck in the back.
it's fine. I'm not sure where our ambulances went. They're like reset. They should be here, but they're not. Oh well. Basically, how you're
this one
treating
has-
is.
I don't have a key.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll skip this part.
Yeah.
Treat it as if you're arriving on the scene, and all you have to
okay.
do is just get out of the ambulance and go up to them. Question is, do any of you know 10 codes?
Yes.
All right.
Do you know what?
10 codes. If you do not, the full list of the ones usable is in the SOP. So go ahead and check this out.
Oh, there they are. Okay.
Tiffany, you got it. I'm gonna
Yeah, okay.
just carry it for now.
Attack Team 1, 23 at the latest 47 at Eclipse Boulevard.
We're gonna do it a little bit more OC than normal because I'm tired and we're gonna do a lot. So you can go ahead and explain what you're doing as you're doing it to them so they understand.
Okay, we're gonna clear the area, guys. We're gonna make sure everyone that's not supposed to be here
Yeah.
leaves. We want
She
the
called out
patient.
over radio that you have arrived on scene, and now your job is
clearing
to
the
secure the
scene.
scene to make sure that the threat is no longer present, so that you may treat the patient in peace. In this case, we have.
West side, clear.
Yeah, in this case, you hear Tiffany talking on the radio, saying
side
what's
clear.
happening. Feel free to do the same. You're checking an alleyway, you call out that the alleyway is clear.
Ow.
Their idiot got run
South
over.
side,
Parking
clear.
garage clear.
Yeah, good. Just feel free to talk over radio and just communicate with each other. But obviously, do not take too fucking long. Because you have a patient who's dying. That's why you have 3 people, so that one person can immediately one person can immediately start treating the patient to make sure they're not dying, while we have 2 left that'll just go ahead and look out for any
Checks for his ID.
scary things happening.
ID.
So,
Perfect. Can someone begin the paperwork, please? His name is Michael Evans. Is this guy an insurance member? He's
Where's someone east? Engaging. They're down.
1013.
Would we 13A during that or 13B?
You would 13A. Getting shot at is a 13A. But in this case, you wouldn't 13A because you already shot down. So the only person who would
Yeah, yeah.
13A would be him.
So how do I use the panic button on the radio?
You type 13A or 13B.
13B
Altogether.
is like the less serious one.
Yeah,
so like if you have an
13B
accident.
is I fucked up. 13 Alpha is I'm fucked. So right, if someone tries to kill you or rob you or whatever, that's a 13 Alpha situation. If you blow up your ambulance because you weren't paying attention,
I'm alive
or
again.
if you trip or fall, it's the 13 Bravo, right? God, we forgot a lot of things. I suck.
I saw you,
No,
but I
you're
wasn't
doing
quick enough to
fine.
shoot.
Yep. No.
Okay, so if we have one of our TACMed down, is that still a 1013?
It depends on the situation. In this case, I said, I said Tiffany wouldn't have 13 Alpha because she already shot me down, right. This guy got shot. That's when he does the 13 Alpha, right? Unless.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the 13 Alpha already notified, and then Tiffany shot me, and there was no one else around, so there's no reason for further 13 Alphas, right? If the situation was you noticed me, I opened fire on you, you hid behind cover, then you can 13 Alpha as well, even if you're not shot down, because you're actively being shot upon and your life is in danger, right?
Oh, okay. I called 1013 because I saw Terry go down first
but
before
that's
I
not,
heard any of the
Yep,
shots.
but 1013 isn't anything. Ooh, we have somebody. Bye! Don't worry about it. Owner of the server is just flying around. Don't worry about it.
Gotta love snow.
No. It's the dev server. Good.
Oh.
I'll be honest, I don't know how to pronounce his nickname.
I
G-Man.
couldn't tell you.
G-Man.
Yeah.
Gonzetta or something like that. I'm terrible at pronouncing it. 1013 isn't anything. It's always got to be 13A or 13B, and you don't call it over radio. You use your panic button for that. If you want to say over radio, you would specifically say what's happening so people have more context, right? So shots fired, we're being shot upon, something like that, right? You don't actually.
But do you
go
call
over radio.
78s at that point, or?
That you can. You're not a 78 is a rarity because you called 13A. What does 13A does? It goes to all of PD, all of Rangers, and all of TACMed. That's an emergency, and all units have to respond to it. So you don't need to call for 78s if you.
No, but let's just say that we are getting shot upon by about like 4 people over there.
And what did I
Because-
say
And
you
then
do
you
when
can-
you're getting actively shot upon? Even if you don't technically go down, you're 13A as well
10-13.
because your life is in
13A.
danger.
13A.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if 13A goes out, there's no need for 78s because the whole state knows that your life is in danger and they need to get their ass here. So you wouldn't call
Okay,
for
but
78s,
say-
you would specify over radio what's happening so people have context.
Okay, but say Terry goes down.
If you leave it too long in 13A, after you go down, you run the risk of the player stealing the weapons you have on you, and then obviously they have class 3 rifles out on the street.
Okay, say Terry goes down. Would that be a
It will
1047?
happen. It's just
Because
no.
47 says injured, downed. Okay.
That would be a patient. If he's the patient, then yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. 47 is a patient. 13 Alpha and Bravo is regarding, government employee safety. So technically, a person who does a 13A doesn't necessarily have to be a 47. Because 47 is a person who is downed. You are able to call your panic button before you are able to, call for help as a 47, right? in most cases, you'll call the 13 Alpha, and then if people are, struggling to find you or you're worried that you've been forgotten, then you can also, call the 47, the call for help, so, they know that you're actually down as well and pick you up. But 13A it has, technically already covering that, right? That's the same way we don't.
Okay.
If a police, for example, is requesting your presence at a scene, you're technically not going to a 47 call, even if there is a 47 on scene. You're going to 52, which is a request for medical. It doesn't matter if it's a 95. It doesn't matter if it's a 47. It doesn't matter if there's nothing. That's a 52, which is a call for medical, which is whenever anyone, any state agency goes over radio and asks us to go somewhere for whatever reason. Any other questions for the code?
No, not for the code. I'm more about the patient treatment.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's say, is that?
Yep.
Oh.
Poor bastard.
Okay, so what emotes is preferred to use on?
You can use any you want. You got mechanic 2 and 3, which is upper body. You can then crouch to do that, above player. You got mechanic 6, which is with the crouch as well. You have parking meter. That's usually for bedside. Yeah, or you can just literally crouch, not do anything. Yeah, parking meter is for like at the bed. It's a very calm, while mechanic is very active. So depending on how you want to approach it, you would use a different one. So those are the emotes you'd be looking. I'm pretty sure there's a few more, but those are the ones.
Do we use? Are there
slash
SOPs?
medic is a crouch one. It doesn't really do anything there.
Yeah. Are there like? Because I was on NoPixel and we had like, we could just do this, and this. Are there because I've read about 6-7 of the first pages before I fell asleep today.
Yep, no worry.
Of the SOP. Are there saline for this, and a list of things we can and can use, or are we using it?
Yeah, there's a cheat code. A cheat sheet.
I'm
I can
not
send
sure what you mean. Are you talking about?
He's talking about treating.
Do you mean treatment on
how
scene?
you can treat people? Yeah, you can absolutely.
No.
treat people. No, go ahead.
No, with what kind of equipment are we playing that we have?
All right.
Pretty much, if you think about it, we got it.
Are you talking like mechanic wise or RP wise? RP wise, you have access to everything. RP wise, you have access to everything. You're driving in an ambulance that basically has everything you could imagine, right?
Okay.
Other than actual hospital equipment, right? You wouldn't be running an X-ray scan in the back of an ambulance, but you can RP having any medicine, any equipment you want. You got all the spinal boards, all the medicine, all the bandages, all the tourniquets, everything you can imagine. It's all free RP. So there's no limitation on what you can or cannot use.
And mechanic-wise, can we inspect the body for damages, or is it just?
We can. Almost nobody will actually use that function because nobody checks it, so nobody uses it, which means less people put it in, which means less people check it, so it just kind of died down. Nobody's inputting anything in there
that's
anymore,
that's the inspect thing, right?
Yeah, that is the inspect thing. But as I said, since not enough people are using it, then not enough people are using it, which means less people are looking at it, which means less people are using it, so it kind of died down and nobody is using it these days. But
also, you'll get to a point where somebody's down and you're sitting there like, okay, I'm going to search you for wounds and whatnot, and they literally will not respond to you. Just go with it and fucking just ask them questions, and then they'll just tell you.
Yeah. Also, one thing we encourage is less me's and more active talking to people. You can always slash me, checks for wounds, but it gets really boring and repetitive. So you can actually just talk through the things you're doing. Yell and all right, let me see what's wrong with you. Right? It's saying that makes RP feel a bit more alive than crouching in peace. Slash me.
I think.
Check.
I think one of my favorite ways that I had someone do it was he would constantly be addressing.
Yeah.
He'd be constantly addressing like his partner, like I'm checking body for wounds and talking to them.
That's
so it
for
keeps
like
everyone
OR
involved.
and bedside, right? Because technically, you're field medics. You don't do surgeries. You don't have to do anything. You are allowed to do it, but in most cases, it would be preferred that you RP that as assisting doctor or nurses on floor, right? They're locals, you don't have to see
Right.
them, so you don't have to do anything, you can just have an open chat with them, right? And the player should catch on as to what's going on, right?
But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
Sometimes they don't, and you
sometimes
just
they
go
don't.
with it. You
Yeah.
just go with it.
Yeah, you ask the nurse to help a patient out of bed so you can transport them to OR because if the patient doesn't get out of bed before you pick them up, they get stuck in the laying animation when you put them back down. So you have to wait for them to actually click X or stand up from bed before you carry them, and the nurse doesn't carry them, so you complain about the nurse going on break until they finally stand up from the fucking bed so you can carry them to the OR, or you just roll with it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
So can we go on duty like when we're done with this, or?
Yes, with
Like
the
as an
caveat you're an
initiate.
initiate. That means you cannot go on active duty without at least an operator. So.
I'll be on.
Yep.
Okay.
Everyone will be on. Don't worry about it. We have command all the time. You will never be at a point where you are unable to go on duty. It's just as an initiate, you're not allowed to go out on your own. But there's no FTO program. There's nothing like that. Everyone who's a full operator, which is 90% of all of SAMs, is at a point where they are allowed to take you out with them. So you will be going on calls. There will never be a situation where you're stuck there waiting to, be able to go out on calls. The only difference between an initiate and a full operator is that you don't get an assigned bus to you. So you cannot, unless somebody lets you drive their ambulance, you do not get to drive. That's for operators.
Okay, so I'm not getting an ambulance.
Nope. Yeah. Once you get promoted to an operator, that's when you get an ambulance assigned to you. That's why I only have you 3, because technically we only have 3 ambulances left that are unassigned, and we still have a few initiates that are in training who will probably get promoted soon. So there might be a case that we run out of ambulances because we're currently trying to buy new ones.
Okay.
But, yeah. Yep.
How does ranking work? Like, how do we go from initiate to operator? Is that just a time thing? Is there
It's
a
not
test
a time
like the
thing.
Rangers have?
It's not a test. It's not a time thing. We literally just have a little board that we check you off on things, and as soon as you are, capable in doing comms, you do the paperwork correctly. You do the stuff that you're supposed to do right. You don't fumble a patient up. You feel confident in your approach, we're just gonna promote you to operator. Right? Operator is somebody who knows how to do their job. You don't have to do your job perfectly, but as soon as you showcase that all of you can do the basics in all of the aspects, you get promoted to operator. That's basically it. Yeah.
How do we choose what team to go out, or is it like
basically just be told?
Basically, yeah. First come, first serve, right? If there's 3 people on duty, that means it's just one team. So as soon as the call comes in, you'll get together and you go on a call. If there's 6 people on scene, the person, that's anyone can just call out going on 10. Anyone can just call out going on call and grab extra people, right? If it's just confusing, you literally just go down to the garage, pull out an ambulance, or in your case, just go to the garage and not pull out an ambulance and be like, waiting for 2 additional badges to go to latest, 47, and you'll go on call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody at SAMs
actually seems simple enough.
Yeah, it is. It is very simple. And also, we operate in pack teams, which means you don't call out your personal call sign and your partner's call sign when you're on scene, right? Your first team out of the garage, you just call yourself Tag Team 1, right? If there's already Tag Team 1, doing stuff, and there's another ambulance that goes out to a different call, they're Tag Team 2, right? Etc. Right? Once everyone is back at Eclipse, because it calmed down a little bit, you don't have to worry about remembering who is who. The next ambulance that rolls out of the Eclipse is Tag Team 1, and if there's another one that needs to go out at the same time, they're Tag Team 2. That's pretty much it.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is for me. This is for Terry, but glasses and nose? Yes or no?
You'll probably get away with glasses. The overseer will probably tell you to take the nose off.
Yeah, okay.
And then this is for just making sure I'm on the right page.
Yep.
I was originally hired as a doctor yesterday. Would I have to apply to Is there a separate organization
Nope.
between?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. It's all the same. It's just a different rank.
Perfect.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
How do we get the call sign?
I will send them to you. Actually, right now, it's another thing we forgot. Also, something else I'll mention.
Terry really likes good numbers.
Yeah, we didn't do that until we was getting badges and stuff. That's when Callum assigned us one.
Yep. But we can do it at any moment, so we'll do it right now. So you can come onto a server and already know what call sign to put in.
Yeah, but there was like 8 of us then, so.
Yep. Something we also forgot. Anybody who is who works at TACMED can fly Valkyrie helicopter. There's no flight service.
Ooh.
Anyone who's an employee
Oh,
can
wait.
get to use it.
Isn't it operator plus though?
Yeah, operator only.
Yeah. It's same rules as for ambulance. You don't get to have an ambulance that you can pull out at a whim. You also don't get to fly Valkyrie. But there's nothing stopping someone else to ask you, hey, do you want to fly? Yeah. Do you know how to fly? Yeah. All right. You get in the Valkyrie and you fly. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very simply.
Okay.
There's no certifications or blocks on the way. You know how to fly. Show us you know how to fly, and we'll let you fly. If you don't know how to fly, okay, and you ask someone who knows how to fly at a slow moment to go ahead and teach you how to fly. That's about it.
Cool. Just remember, you break it, you fix it.
Oh yeah,
Right.
ambulances and Valkyries. Everyone's is responsible for the shit they cause, because you make a lot of money. So you're responsible for repairing your own ambulance. You're responsible for repairing and bringing back Valkyrie if you fuck up. So we don't want people who constantly crash, and I mean literally and figuratively, right? Either game crashes or they themselves don't know how to fly and crash. We don't want them to fly because that's, trust me, helicopters are such a fucking pain to recover on this server. So if you are not confident in your skills or your PC/internet, we would prefer that you wouldn't fly unless there's no other option, right? But if it's right, we will not blame you for occasionally having a fuck up, but you will have to personally deal with the fuck up. Spend like an hour trying to recover the helicopter from the impound lot, and it's gonna be a lot of pain. You're gonna not enjoy it, but you're gonna enjoy flying the helicopter. It's really fun.
I believe you're also told to do it off duty as well, so it's unpaid.
No.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's very much on duty because it's like I would not want people without class 3 recovering helicopters, because what's stopping someone from just rolling up and stealing the helicopter from you?
Oh yeah.
We don't want that. So no, repairing Valkyries and ambulances, it's on duty job.
But we have to have our own insurance. Did you say that?
Yep. As I said, everything you pay for personally. You repair ambulance out of your own pocket. You repair Valkyrie out of your own pocket. You refuel things out of your own pocket. You buy insurance out of your own pocket because you make a lot of money, right? Instead of giving you. Yep.
Yeah. What if we get shot on duty?
You get
Doesn't matter.
treated the same as if you
don't
weren't
have
on
insurance,
duty.
you have to pay up.
Okay. Time for me to get a platinum then.
Yep, you get.
I mean, you'll make it soon.
Yep, you get.
We all get
zero-
paid enough, yeah.
Yeah, you get 0 special bonuses from working at TACMED. The bonus is you make a shit ton of money, which you get to spend on whatever you want. So that's how.
Literally the
Bonuses
next day,
also-
I got insurance. That's how much money I made.
Yep, you literally work
Yeah.
you work like 7 hours and you can afford a month of insurance. So you'll be good.
Yeah.
Another bonus is we look really fucking good. So
We look our best. Everyone loves us. Well, most people hate us. Everyone loves our outfits and wants them.
Yeah.
yeah, well, they can suck it up.
Struggling.
I believe you mentioned call signs and
Call
getting
signs.
those sorted out real quick.
Let's get that. Did you all comment in the Discord?
Oh,
Your
I'm gonna
name?
do that now.
If you did, go ahead and edit it so it's your name, and then you put M-nothing. And cool, I'll go ahead and go through that and ask you individually what call sign you want.
Which channel am I putting that in?
We're
Just-
sending in the re-education one.
Re-education request, the one where we sent you, the IP address. Yeah. So instead of bracket, Hackman just say Tiffany Hilton M dash.
Oh,
and
perfect.
Then, yeah. Now then I'll ask you which call sign you'll want individually and check if it's available. Paris call sign is unavailable, so get fucked.
Yeah, it got stolen by Skylar, who's about to get fired, but yeah.
Actually, I think two people got that call sign because it was at the same time before the thingy got updated. But oh well.
That's kind of like 009, so I'm probably gonna keep it.
009. Yeah. All right.
Wait, were you 008
yeah.
before?
Oh yeah.
I'm 008 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. All right. Yours. I'm sorry. Been awake for a while.
Would a 727 be available?
We go up to 200, from 1 to 200.
Oh, up to 200. Okay.
Yep. Don't worry, I'll ask you. All right.
I think on the roster you can see the call signs that are available.
Yep, but I'm already on salt.
Where's the roster? Oh yeah.
All right. Harry, what number would you like?
1, 2, 3.
Let's see. Take a. Actually, hold on. Yep, take.
Was open for 2, 3, 4.
That's above 200.
191.
Damn it.
Taken.
That was. Oh, not even by me. Okay.
Yep.
190.
Available.
No, that's not a good.
Ah. Don't like it.
195. Oh God. Right.
Flashbang.
Available.
Yeah.
Would you like?
Okay,
to
195.
be 195. Go ahead and put that in your name. Yeah, name. You see how we structure our call sign as the name.
086.
Available.
Perfect.
Did you post your name in the image?
Yeah, it's in Sam's re-education request. Danny Ehrlich.
Oh, okay. Good. I'll just add it to your actual name on the document.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it was available first.
Who do we have left? Oh wait, no one. 'Cause you're already.
Yeah, I think that's everyone.
Was 000 taken?
Yeah.
Yep. Although, no way, hold on.
If so, if not.
Well, it's taken by Penta's character, who's getting fired but isn't fired yet. So get fucked.
Okay, can I get in line to get that one?
No.
Are you able to change your? Are you able to change your?
You can ask for it, and we decide.
Yeah.
We'll most likely say no.
But can't you just fire him now and I'll take the number?
I can, but I won't.
It's gonna be fun RP wise, because Terry will,
Well,
I will make some
sadly
fun
for
out
you,
of it. I
Maria
promise.
prefers Bob to Terry, so get fucked.
But Bob isn't gonna go around going dun 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 dun.
No, Bob is gonna go around
Bob is just
choking
doing
and stabbing
tracheometries.
patients. Yeah.
Tracheometries in the stairwell.
Maria has a fondness for considering what she does to patients sometimes. But you don't need to know about that. Don't worry about it.
I cannot wait. This is gonna be fun.
It better be.
My most mentally stable character has a job.
All right.
With the
Can
government,
anyone think
which-
of any more questions? You do not have to worry. We'll be there on the live server for you for every step of the way, explaining every single thing. So if you feel like there's not enough information about something, don't worry. That's because you'll learn a lot more in character. This is just the actual OC basics, so you don't have to go ahead and like, how do I open my MDT? Which muscle do I flex?
F7 by default, or a tab makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. No.
So let's fly over.
All right.
Yeah.
Path.
I'm gonna F8 quit. Fuck these guys.
Hold on. No. I don't want people to F8 quit that because if you ever come back for training, it will be a pain. Now go ahead.
Okay.
Boy. Leave. Nightmare. Leave. Go away. Go. Bye. No. Go. Bye. No. Go. Bye. No. Go. Bye. Nightmare. You can do that as well. Nightmare. All right. God, I'm so tired. God damn it, I'm getting tired. But it's too early to be tired yet. Oh my god, I just noticed my stream is about to cut off. Oh, I gotta. Also, thanks Zoe for the hydrate. I gotta stop my stream and start again because I'm about to hit 78 hours, and obviously Twitch cannot go for longer than 48 hours. Don't go anywhere.